What up, everybody? A2HH Live on a Friday. Coop, how you doing, sir?
Tired.
Man,
Sleeping.
same here, man. You see my eyes are low and all of that stuff, man. But we here.
Let's do it for the love of the.
It's
Let's make it
everything
happen.
that builds up to this. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah.
hold on, what's that?
Oh, I just had to clean the lens right
Oh,
quick.
okay. For the
Clean my
people who are
glasses.
listening to us on streaming platforms, they probably wouldn't even know what that was because they didn't see the visual. But yeah,
Right.
welcoming everybody into the room. Welcoming everybody into the room. There was a couple of new songs that came out today. Nothing really special. Um, I mean, did you hear the Jeezy and DJ Drama? What you think about it?
Everything. It was just okay.
I think it was a little different than what I was expecting, but it was still kind of the same old stuff. It's
Yeah.
funny, man. Shout out to DJ Paperboy, man. I just had a long conversation with him over at the office or whatever, and he's still coming to me about the fact that I put Pastor Troy on my list over Jeezy. And so
Yeah.
he just started running down Jeezy's catalog, and Troy doesn't have the material, I guess, on a mainstream or widespread level to match that. That's fine. And maybe I should reconsider. Maybe I should reconsider. I think a big part of me putting Troy over him more so was impact, and it wasn't, the music. And the thing about Jeezy though, and maybe this is something we can discuss too at the beginning of the show. Yeah, Jeezy when he hit, he had a lot of but he had a lot of hits. Excuse me, but he had a lot of misses throughout his career. Thumbs up in the chat. Shout out to everybody coming in the room.
As somebody that's a bigger fan of his than you are, I will say that in retrospect, his misses seem a little greater than they originally seemed. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I feel like if he was, let's just say, quality was field goal percentage or 3-point percentage. I'm
Mm.
saying he started off rookie year hitting 50% from the field, but it got kind of scarce, man. And I think that we've been seeing this really over the last 10 years.
Yeah, I told you I'd have to go back to 103 to I feel like the last time where I felt like people were truly excited about a project that he was releasing, and that's coming from the perspective of being a fan. When did 103 get released? What year is that?
103 was at like 2012. People in the
I feel like
chat
it's
can check
12,
for us.
12 or 11, 11 or 12.
When was
I'm
the
not.
song with when was the song It's All There? When did that come out? Because I like that record.
That's after that, but
Yeah, I know that's well after that because that had Bankroll Fresh on it after Bankroll, was murdered. So
right. But even with that, it's like, did you like that project though?
I didn't like the project. Nas
Yeah.
the Goat said, "What were his misses in your opinion?" In my opinion, his
The
only,
inspiration,
huh?
the inspiration, the follow up, the sophomore album.
Yeah.
3 in the Morning with Timberland's like the only notable thing on there that I really think is worth like taking with you as a Jeezy fan.
Well, I don't know, man. I feel like, to be honest, and maybe I'm not the best person to ask here, but I think everything after Thug Motivation is kind of a miss. I mean, or is it? He's hit or
That's
miss.
very problematic.
I mean,
That's not
you
true.
got stuff like Illin and things like that, and I
I'm
like
not saying
hood politics. I mean, but again, we're talking about somebody since Thug Motivation. If you look, all right, let's look at Thug Motivation, right, and look at how many records that had on it that hit on an average level. He was not meeting that average I mean, he was far from that average on any other effort. Correct?
um, 103 is closer to 101 in terms of that regard of what you're talking about. 103 was released December 20th, 2011. That's why it feels 2012ish.
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's
pretty
been
much
about since that
2012.
time since I felt like he had a buzz like that. I don't agree with what you're saying. I think The Recession is a really dope album. I think
Okay.
103 is a dope album. You know how I feel about Trap or Die too.
Well,
That's all of that is after TM 101.
the recession celebrates 14 years today.
Oh, it does?
Yep.
Yeah,
Happy
the
anniversary.
recession had stuff. I told you who that is some of his best stuff. Welcome back. Circulate, Put On, Get a Lot, Black President. There's some stuff on there.
You know, I'm gonna have to just retract what I did on my list. You know, you're right. You guys have made a great argument on that. And the music speaks for itself. Even though I do feel like he stole Pastor Troy's flow, he still has a better catalog and probably is a better rapper overall, has bigger impact. So yes, I'll have to put Jeezy on that list. It might be
He's
too
made
late
records,
for it.
Mike. Yeah, he's made records. Like, it's funny. I thought I was gonna have to come on here and name the stuff off of Trap or Die 2, and you just named it for me. You're like, well, he's got Illin, Hood Politics. I'm thinking like, oh, well, damn, I'm the one that's gonna have to name the album stuff. But yeah,
I mean, you know, he put in the work, you know, but again, I guess I was kind of going more so on impact, and you know, and a lot of that impact might be skewed because I was here, and I guess to the rest of the world, you know. Jay Short with the super chat says, Chainz did what Jeezy did, but more entertaining. Chainz is a lot more consistent than Jeezy to me.
Okay, so what I would submit to you is Chainz didn't even have like a 101 or a 103, does he? What does he have that's 101 comparable?
He doesn't have to though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I mean, yes, he does, because he doesn't have Trap or Die 1 or 2 either. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's like when you start stacking it out, it's like, has Jeezy been inconsistent the last 10 years? Definitely the last 10 years. But really, outside of like the sophomore album, The Inspiration, and I think the one that followed up, 103, which is I think the one that has the joint with Bankroll Fresh that you're talking about. Other than that, he was consistent for about a 10-year period too, or close to at least a 7-8-year period.
True Religion was a classic.
I like True Religion. True Religion's not fucking with Trap or Die 1 or 2.
And what about the first one? You know what I'm talking about?
Based on the true
story, yeah.
I mean, that's got the birthday song.
Codeine Cowboy, yeah. Codeine Cowboy was crazy. Yeah. Now that's when people really start talking about Chainz. And I remember when Codeine Cowboy came out, I was like, yo, what's going on? Riding Around and Getting It was on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, what were you about to say?
That's where the buzz came from. Yeah.
What were you about to say? My bad. I interrupted with the Codeine Cowboy.
No, I'm saying that's where his buzz came from. Is those records?
Oh,
those
straight
records
up.
Are the buzz.
Straight up. And then he kept that buzz up, did all these crazy features, and I think that over the years, I think he's been able to remain hot based on, and maybe until recent time, based on his ability to make songs.
Also his entertainment level. I mean, his guest appearances are scene stealers.
He is a scene stealer. You remember when he did that to Fab on I Feel Like It?
Yeah, but here's the thing about it. He's the rare scene stealer that it's like, no, he's an album scene stealer and a hit scene stealer. That's why he feels better to you than Jeezy does. It's just the catalog's not there. The versatility and the diversity in the song making is there. It's just the albums aren't.
I think the catalog's there. Free Bass is crazy. I love Free Bass.
I get what you're saying, but none of that stuff still. You're not naming anything that's like Trap or Die 1 or 2 level or TM 101 level.
Nah, I disagree. I'll give you Trap or Die. I mean, I'll give you, because really Trap or Die, if we really break it down,
you want to talk about the rapping on Trap or Die.
That mixtape and TMT 101, they all got similar songs on them.
Okay.
So you gotta have to pick one. You know what I mean? It's not like it's like two totally different projects.
We'll take 101 because it's got a Jay-Z verse and a T.I. verse.
Okay. We got Thug Motivation 101, right? Yeah, I think, you know, even if you add in Free Bass based on the true story, 1, 2, Codeine Cowboy, I think he just came consistent on so many bases. What was I gonna say? What was the other one I was thinking about? Top of my head, it was Trappavelli 2. You know, he just came with a whole bunch of work, man.
I mean, I'll tell you this.
2 Chainz would beat Jeezy in the verses.
Yeah, but that would be about the features. That's what I'm saying. Because he's going to win on those features. Yeah.
Jay Short with the super chat says, is Pretty Girls Like Trap Music better than Thug Motivation 101? I like Pretty Girls Like Trap Music, but I don't think it is.
I don't even think that's a conversation.
Somebody said, Mike really don't fuck with Jeezy. Nah, never really felt him. Sorry.
Not really like that. Yeah. Not at all. Never.
I think he had one hot summer. Everything else is in. That's just my opinion. Somebody said you don't like Jeezy personally. You know what? Stop that. I don't know anybody personally. Actually, I have met Jeezy. He was cool. I just don't like the music. Why y'all got to make it personal, man? It's never personal. I don't know Eminem. Y'all probably think that I personally don't like Eminem. I don't know him. He's probably a great guy. I just think that his music is overrated, and I think that he needs to respond to the game. And he got what happened? What's up? What's up?
Sorry, Mike. I hit the I had to check on the U.S. Open right quick. I didn't know the volume was still.
Oh
I
my
had to
God.
check a little.
Shout out to Serena too.
Well, Coco Golf is on right now. It's Serena at 7.
Okay, cool. Michael Sanders.
Black on both sides Friday at the U.S. Open.
Michael Sanders with the super chat says, never forget 2 Chainz killed Drake on Big Amount. Yeah, 2 Chainz pretty much kills everybody on anything. I have a theory. I think that's why Jay-Z is scared to get on a record with 2 Chainz. Now, not saying the 2 Chainz is a better rapper than Jay-Z, but that scene-stealing ability that Chainz has could form an illusion that 2 Chainz killed Jay on a record.
But Ye has done it so many times already with style, so it's like doesn't matter as much anymore because it's happened.
Yeah, it doesn't matter as much anymore. I mean, I think Nas kind of just brought that to light when it comes to Renegade, and again, they all said a lot of different things about each other that weren't true on the record. You're not better than Beans type thing. Your bodyguard Suchi Wally versus better than yours. We all know that.
I don't know about that.
That could be true, right?
Pretty bad Uchi Wally versus. Definitely.
Or what about the
nailed that verse in?
What about the whole one hot album every 10-year average? That's not
now
true.
That is what we call hyperbole to the highest order.
But what are they supposed to do?
Because this is what he's saying. He's saying it was written as
Yeah, and I think that kind of started a narrative too.
It did.
It did.
Absolutely.
They both started some narratives on each other with the takeover and Ether. Nobody was when the blueprint for the kids out there who weren't around in 2001 on 9/11 when the blueprint hit. Nobody was sitting there saying that Jay-Z got killed on Renegade. We were just talking about how great the blueprint was. Nobody started talking that stuff until Nas said it.
I think The Source gave Eminem Rhyme of the Month for Renegade, though, Mike.
You know what? I don't even remember that. And you know what? That's very big of The Source. And I think it's very sad that things went the way it went when The Source felt like speaking their truth when it comes to Eminem and his legacy.
Cool. Is that what they did?
I don't really remember it in detail. What exactly happened?
I mean, I think they're just messy as fuck, and so we're not going to get into all of that.
Well, I do remember them having the cover, right, where, M used the N-word or something, and they were giving out the tape or something along with the cover. That was a bit much.
I mean, I really just feel like it was certain people's ego that had been trying to, quite frankly, via The Source and other various outlets, have made a lot of relationships in the business and still not attained the success of Eminem. So I feel there was some jealousy and some vitriol that was involved in disseminating the information that led to all of these things that occur. I believe we call it yellow journalism.
You think so? Well, I think that there is a fair gripe with the fact that, okay, Eminem's already going to get a level of, much earned respect to a certain level by hip-hop publications. I think that the unfair part is that he was just able to supersede a lot of hip-hop outlets and get a lot of exposure just off GP that other artists just were not going to get. When it comes to, the TRL, debuting his music on larger platforms, getting played on rock stations that didn't play hip-hop music. And I think that, certain people may have felt a way about that because a lot of that led to him being able to sell the units that he did over, other artists.
Yes, but when this is what I mean is that the way, I mean, first of all, one of the things that stuck out about it is like, well, when did Zeno become this authoritarian on, hip hop culture? Because that appeared to happen out of nowhere. And so I think there was some ego involved with his need to come out and flex his muscle. You get what I'm saying?
I think that he probably took it too far, right? And I guess
took it personally.
Yeah, and I'm speaking from a person who, I like some of Eminem's music, especially in that era, but I always have said, and I've said on this show, I put it in a section of, where Busta and where Redman and all those guys are to a certain extent. I never put him where the Nas's and J's are. And that's just me, whatever. But I think it's easier for me to actually sit here with that type of stance when M hasn't really made anything great in really the last 20 years. At that time, when The Source was doing that, he was making his best music, and it looks crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, you're really just hating. You know what I mean?
Well, that's just the ego part of it, because quite frankly, it's like, well, if you heard Benzino rap and then you heard Eminem rap, it's like, Mike, I don't care what you think about Eminem, but he is leaps and bounds. Bounds.
I don't think that's the indicator either. That's like saying that, if somebody is not a good rapper, they can't commentate on hip hop. You know what I mean?
I do, but this is what I'm saying. This is like, the artist that's not making it per se, or so to speak, is also, by hook or by crook, or by just de facto intimidation, controlling our main media outlet and purveyor at the time. And so there's some ego and pride involved in how he approached the situation, because we didn't even know that all of that was even going on until he broached this situation, which actually really led to their real credibility taking its final blow and downfall, and hasn't been the same since.
I think that the problematic part of that is the fact that Made Men got 4.5 mics. And so when Eminem highlights so it's like, when Eminem highlights something like that, then fans are looking back like, well, yeah, that's kind of biased. You know what I mean?
When Liquid Swords is getting 4 mics, but Made Men's getting 4.5 mics, well, yeah, it looks bad. When Doggy Style got 4 mics,
and the Hot Boys Guerrilla Warfare gets 4.5 mics, and I love the Hot Boys, but come on.
And it's the same album redone in like 5 to 7. I feel like 7 of those songs are on the original Hot Boys album.
Yeah, and that's not even Cash Money's best work. 4.5 mics for Guerrilla Warfare. Come on.
400 Degrees got 4 mics, if I'm not mistaken. You feel what I'm saying?
Who did?
400 Degrees. Capital Punishment got 4 mics.
Wow. Ray Rims with the super chat says, Coop, you still prepared to take Mike on in that Jeezy versus Game battle? Been kind of quiet about the matchup since the Patreon went up. Coop, don't do it.
Told you I wasn't excited about that. I need you to be quiet. Cut him off.
We're not going to do that to Jeezy. We're definitely not going to do that to Jeezy. But
I was definitely talking reckless that day. I'd like to apologize.
But yeah, even with all that being said, Eminem still has to respond to Game. It is what it is. I know he's scared, but you can do it, B-Rabbit. Michael Sanders with the super chat says, I think Codeine Cowboys is Chainz Thug Motivation 101. There are bangers on there, no skips in my opinion. Don't forget the Sci-Hi feature. Much respect, best hip hop podcast. Appreciate the love. Yes, I agree with that. I would love to put Codeine Cowboy up against Thug Motivation 101. Now, I will say this. The records on Thug Motivation 101 are just so big.
I was about to say, we can put it up on the Patreon. I mean, we have a whole show about those things. I'll notate it. I'll put that right next to my Liquid Swords Illmatic note.
Okay, Liquid Swords Illmatic. You want to go on to this first topic that 3 people have wanted us to speak about. This is you know what? How do I start this off? I don't want to say this is the last time we're going to talk about this, but this is going to be one of the last times that we specifically talk about this Jay-Z God Did verse. People are talking about, well, we gotten a whole bunch of links coming to us from MSNBC. I think Ari, what's his name? Ari Melber. He did a piece on the God Did verse, breaking it down bar for bar. It's like a 16-minute soliloquy on MSNBC. They spent good old-fashioned cable news network television time breaking down some of the intricacies of the verse. A lot of reaching going on in there, if in my estimation. But you know what this feels like to me? It feels like, and Jay got on. I don't know if you heard the Twitter space that Jay just got on recently.
I didn't. I didn't listen.
Well, Jay just got on the Twitter space, talking about how he put the verse together when he got the beat. He did say that Young Guru was exaggerating when he said that Jay did it in one take or whatever. And you know, one thing Jay said about Khaled too, about these Khaled projects, he said it's like the all-star game, man. You know, and these projects ain't easy to put together because you know you got all of these egos and this and that. I'm like, what egos? People mail in their songs. Khaled's not even producing the songs. I mean, let's be real, man. People are getting there, or they're putting together producers, get a record for Khaled, and send the shit in. I'm starting to think that the record labels are requiring their artists to give Khaled a song. Anyway. Anyway, I don't want to sound like a hater, whatever. So yes.
You sound more conspiracy theorist than hater right now.
Well, yeah, it just feels that way. This is what I want to see. And I'll shut up. I'll shut all the way up. I want to see DJ Khaled produce an album end to end where shit says produced by DJ Khaled on every song. We said that about Dre, right? I want to see a DJ Khaled produced album end to end. No other producers on any other songs. I looked through his catalog. There are very, very few songs where it's just him producing. I don't know what his production style sounds like. They say he's a producer, right?
That is affirmative.
You know what I'm saying? So I want to hear a project. I don't care what artist it is. Get behind that artist. It should be a Miami artist, honestly, and you produce everything from end to end. Is that too much to ask for somebody who is credited as being a producer or a DJ? Or I mean, because I know he doesn't really DJ like that.
I mean, apparently so.
Mad Max says, Rap Roundtable had a dope live yesterday and said Nas got 6 chips, 2 MVPs, and a gold medal. I think it's a great way to qualify MC greatness. Sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
6 championships is awesome. 2 MVPs, I can see where they got that from. Yeah, I think that's a good way of breaking things down. What would be Jay-Z's MVP year?
I mean, when you're saying MVP year, I mean, that's what I'm saying, because it's like, I mean, who's MVP in 94? And who's MVP in 96? And who's the MVP last year? Because those would be probably his MVP.
Well, I'm going to answer those. I think 94 would probably be Biggie as the MVP. Right?
Is that a championship for Nas, though? Is that what they're saying? Illmatic is the championship and Biggie's overall performance is the MVP? I don't know what the qualifiers are.
That's hard to qualify right there, because are we qualifying sales? We're qualifying impact. And if you're qualifying impact, why doesn't he get the MVP there?
The criteria set up is fascinating. We just don't know what their metrics are. So
Right. This is what I will say. I think that if we want to talk about Jay-Z's MVP seasons, I'm going to go 2001. Everything else is debatable. What other year would you say?
When did the Black Album come out?
That's 50 Cent. Sorry.
Was that Get Rich or Die Trying?
Yeah, that's 50 Cent.
Yeah, that's 50.
Yeah.
No, that's 50. That's like when Moses Malone averaged like 30 and like 16 that year, something stupid. But like Kareem and Magic and Bird were all in their prime. But like Moses was like, yeah, I'm in my prime too, and just it's one of those.
98. That's DMX.
98 is X. Yeah.
Jay Short Super Chat says Beyonce album disappointed. Jay must make an album. Michael Sanders with the Super Chat says DJ Khaled is what you call smoke and mirrors. A fake.
You know, here's what crossed my mind, all jokes aside.
Prove us wrong, Khaled.
Here's what crossed my mind when you sent me the MSNBC link.
Mm-hmm.
I was always taught as a black man in this nation to be very, very mindful when white people praise black people and who they put in front of you consistently. Because the white people in the white dominant media here tend to praise and put in front of you It's probably not who you should be following. Correct me if I'm wrong. Historically speaking, if I'm inaccurate, please show me the inaccuracy or the iniquity in the manner in which I'm kind of like divulging this. So just the fact.
Well, you know what? It's funny, my mind went there too, but my mind automatically goes there. And we're talking about mainstream media.
Mhm.
And so I wasn't even going to go there, but I completely agree. I mean, that was the first thing I thought. It's like, okay, well, this is becoming too much, especially from somebody who has so much great material to pull from. You know what I mean? Lyrically, he's a poet. He's in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. He has
Well,
bars on bars on bars, and he didn't tell us anything different here. You know, you got
well,
Complex out here doing a countdown of the best Jay-Z verses because of this.
Well, I'm going to tell you what's happening, though, is that, well, people outside of the hip hop sphere that used to be connected to hip hop because of guys like Jay-Z and Eminem, they're not connected to hip hop right now because hip hop really is in the streets right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so they don't know what's going on, really.
Right.
So this is getting more hype and pub it deserves because, quite frankly, the people that are in Jay-Z's age and demographic are who's responsible for our news media cycle. They grew up listening to Jay. And he was the biggest star. So for this portion of white America that is now dominating the media news cycle, it's like, well, they were the ones that were white kids that really weren't acquainted to rap when Can I Get It and Hard Knock Life came out and were in high school with us or middle school with us or college. And so for them, when he does something, that's their conduit back into this sphere again. And that's what I mean about always auditing who we crown when we crown them carefully, because this is one of those things where it comes back to bite us. The fact that people are still trying to say that Jay-Z's year was 98 when DMX did what he did. You feel what I'm saying? Like if you just go look at the numbers, it's not even a conversation. If you actually go listen to the music, it's not a conversation. But we have the conversation because of the perception. And then the perception turns into reality years later.
You know what this feels like to me, though? I mean, I agree with everything you said. It feels like all of this coverage of this actual verse and the length of the verse and, you know, everybody going in depth with this verse, it's so that Jay-Z doesn't have to put out an album to prove he's still the greatest. Because the other guy that he's matched up with is putting out albums at a rate that, you know, we haven't seen him ever put out, especially on a quality level too. And, you know, I know people think that folks like Jay-Z, Beyonce live on in a whole separate universe and don't hear anything that's going on. But the truth of the matter is, Jay's a hip-hop head. He understands what's going on. He heard Magic. He heard KD2. He's heard KD1. He's impressed as a hip-hop fan himself, and he knows that ultimately that whole longevity argument, when it comes to matching these two guys up, can't be used as much anymore. And I think that this verse, not only the length of it and how hard he went, because he's never had to rap this long, but everything that people are throwing on top of it, it seems like a whole media onslaught so that we won't be asking for a new Jay-Z album. This is enough. We know he's still the greatest because of this verse alone.
Well, what I would submit to people that say that, it's like, okay, if you can explain to me how Peyton Manning at this point is better than Tom Brady, then you can probably explain how Jay-Z is better than Nas, because that's really what's going on.
That's exactly what's going on.
It's like, for all of those people that said Peyton Manning, even if you felt it was viable and he had done just enough when he walked away or stepped away from his prime, and I mean, and what's that? I mean, that was two in Super Bowls. I think he went to 4 Super Bowls, 2 in Super Bowls, 4 MVPs, which means 4 first-team All-Pros, because only one quarterback's making first-team All-Pro. I mean, and then you look at it now, it's like, well, Brady has more passing yards. He has more touchdowns. When you left, you still had 2 less rings than him.
Yeah.
When you left, he's gotten 3 more rings since you've been gone.
And for the
3,
and you know, and for the system,
and another MVP.
For the system people argument, this man went to Tampa Bay first year and won a championship. At that point, you can't say anything. And like I've said on this show before, Tampa Bay for Nas is magic.
Well, also too,
Dropping Magic in the same year that you dropped KD2, or honestly, KD2 and Magic is Brady going to Tampa Bay winning a Super Bowl championship. The argument's over until, further notice, pretty
well,
much.
also too, here's also how you need to understand it and look at it too. So, Aaron Rodgers has 4 MVPs. Peyton Manning has 4 MVPs. Do you know who finished in second place 6 of those 8 times in those MVP seasons?
Right.
So this guy has 3 MVPs and literally was a step away from winning MVP from you guys specifically on 6 different occasions. Nobody's made second team all-pro quarterback more than Tom Brady. And the only people to make first team more is literally Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning. He's tied with Brett Favre with 3 MVPs. But by no metric, by no measure of the eye. And so it's the same thing going on here. You have no real measure or metric of the eye to give me at this point. And if a 4-minute verse is like the best that you got in the past 10 years, and I can just give you like what Nas has done the last 24 months, it's like, eh.
And the thing is, we want to talk about the coverage. I think it's troubling that half of this coverage of this individual verse wasn't put on Magic. So this ain't about the music. This is about something else. Even when I think it was Ebony Magazine did that cover of Nas or whatever, and this was for KD2.
Mm-hmm.
None of these publications, none of these news outlets were like, yo, not only did he drop KD2, what was it, 2021, 27 years into his career, he also dropped Magic on Christmas Eve. Like, if you're not going to be holding that high and talking about that 24/7, I don't want to hear all of this hoopla over this verse that's on DJ Khaled, because in my opinion and in my estimation, this comes across as marketing. This isn't true. I'm a hip hop fan, because what you said, you're right. A lot of these people are of that generation, but guess who else they were listening to as well? They're in that age bracket where they know Nas. They were silent when Magic came out. This ain't about the verse. I mean. This is about
They're
something else.
They're not connected anymore, but because of how things went with Jay-Z, the mass public, as in the cross-marketing public sector, sided with Jay-Z because he was more affable, personable, and the rhetoric, quite frankly, was a little, it's not as pro-black. Let's just leave it like that. You know what I mean? The rhetoric is not as pro-black and thereby more digestible for the non-black crowd and populace. You know what I mean? And so what happens is that Jay-Z remains in that mind of that sphere of their youth. And Nas is just a guy that was vying for Jay-Z's crown, really, at the end of the day, for the non-black populace. They're not familiar. They're not connected. They didn't stay connected to Nas long enough to understand or know hip-hop well enough to understand what he's even doing right now and how groundbreaking it is, because their reference point is fucking Volume 2, Hard Knock Life. That's not a good reference point.
I would gripe with you for one thing, because it's like, it feels
and if Eminem is hold on, Mike, let me finish this. And if Eminem is the reference point, it's even way worse than Volume 2.
That doesn't even count. You don't even know what you're talking about at that point.
Well, that's where most of these people are coming from, is the Slim Shady LP and Hard Knock Life.
Well, this is my thing, though, Coop. I feel like everybody was fine when it looked like Nas was done, and they would hold Illmatic high, and they would talk about Illmatic and how it shaped hip-hop, this, and this. But when this man comes with some quality, dope-ass album of the year level stuff at 27 years in his career, it's silence. It's like, you guys want to hold up somebody when you think they're done. You know what I mean? Mad Max says they gave Nas a unanimous MVP for 94, and then the Chip, they gave Nas another MVP for 2002. Jay, I would say, would have an MVP in the summer of 01. I think we all can say 01 when it comes to Jay, but I think that's really his only MVP season. Is that fair? I mean,
I think that's debatable.
I mean, that is debatable. I mean, I would give it to him because of the whole year, and Stillmatic didn't come into the end of the year.
You're right, because that's December too. Because I didn't hear Ether till December.
Yeah. So that came at the end of the year. Ether dropped on Jay's birthday, December 4th. So, and I know people are calling us the Nas Avengers or whatever, but listen, facts and facts, man. It is. I mean, did Magic not happen Did KD2 not happen? Are those not quality albums? Are those
I mean,
albums not better than 444? And no,
well,
let's really address this, especially for the people that want
right.
to say
No,
we're
I mean,
biased.
I
Because
believe the
I'm more
Peyton
of a
Manning,
Jay
Tom Brady
fan.
thing.
I'm
Go
more of a
ahead.
Jay fan than Nas, and I have been since we started the show. But I have to face the realities that 444 and Holy Grail, they're not better than KD, KD2, or Magic. They just are not. And then we want to throw distant relatives in there. Then you want to throw Nasir in there. Honestly,
Life is
444
good.
is not better than Nasir. Yeah, throw Life is Good in there. And when you throw all
That's the
that in
last
there,
10
it
years.
just doesn't match up.
That's the last 10 years, just the output
Yeah.
alone. Because here's what people have to understand. Part of why Jay was kind of poking at Nas about the one hot album every 10-year average thing, he was also pointing to the output in the pace. He's like, I'm at your pace. I got here 2 years after you.
Yeah. I got here 2 years after you, and I have lapped you.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what do you say about the last 10 years?
Exactly.
That's what I mean about the Peyton Manning, Tom Brady thing. It's like, well, yeah, it's like even if you thought it was a conversation, it's like, well, not really the past decade. It's like, look at this past decade versus that past decade.
I see somebody said too many guys in 96. Let's just go through it real quick. 96 is Tupac. 97 is Big. 98 is DMX. 99,
Maybe. I'm cool giving him 99 unless you want to say Dre, because that's
Is that not DMX again? I think it might be.
I think 99 is the murky year.
99 might be DMX again. Or, well, yeah.
It's possible.
2000. That could. I'm giving that to Ghost. I'm sorry. Supreme Clientele's getting my 2000. 2001, I'll give that one to Jay.
See, that's what I'm saying. How can you lose a battle and still get the crown? Okay, I mean, I don't understand.
Well, I mean, I don't think.
No, Wilt Chamberlain will win an MVP award and then lose to Bill Russell in the finals.
Yeah, I don't think when Ether comes out in December of 01, it takes away everything he did in 01. You know what I mean?
Right.
2002, I'm giving that to Face. Or Eminem. You know what? Fuck that. I'm giving that to Eminem. He had 8 Mile, had the Eminem show. I can't be biased like that.
Look at you showing growth.
02, got to give that to Eminem. 03, that's 50 Cent. 04, Kanye West. 05, might be Kanye again, but that could go to The Game or Common.
Or T.I.
I might give T.I. 06.
Okay.
Wasn't King 06? 07. See, it's getting murky now. 07, that's the guy that did $1 million in a week. It's Kanye.
Yeah, he got a lot of big shit.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, he's major.
Ye could have really gotten 05 too, being generous. But yeah, he definitely got 04 and 07.
I mean,
and then 08, that's the Carter 3.
05 if Ye did is graduation 05?
Graduation's 05 and so is B. He has to get that.
And he executive produced B in 05?
He damn near produced the whole album.
That's a landslide. That's a landslide.
I'm sorry, yeah.
You released Graduation, and you're the executive producer of B, including almost doing, I believe, 90% of the beats on there.
Right.
And we have what we call a landslide victory.
08, that's the Carter 3. 08, that's the Carter 3. Now, do you want to give Jay 09 for the Blueprint 3? I don't know. Jay Short with the super chat. Actually, 09 might have been Drake, because that's when he came with So Far Gone, I believe. Jay Short with the super chat says, can Blueprint be a classic with Izzo, Girls, Ola Ovito, and Jigga and That Nigga Jigga? That's 4 songs out of 13, not trolling. Serious question. I mean, you're not trolling because I had that same conversation today. I said that when Jay falls short, when it comes to seamless classic, end-to-end classic, is when he's trying to make a record that is going to sell records. And that example is definitely Ola Ovito, Jigga That Nigga Jigga, and in my opinion, Renegade on the Blueprint because it didn't fit. You know what I'm saying?
It was definitely a placement record. It's like, we need to do this song.
Mm-hmm. It was a business move. And I think him being the businessman he is sometimes gets in the way of the artist, if that makes any sense. Because there's no way in hell Kanye West puts Jigga Jigga That Nigga Jigga on his album if he's making the Blueprint. You know what I mean? He's not. It doesn't make sense. Outkast doesn't do that. It doesn't make sense.
Right. Outkast doesn't call like DJ Quick and Too Short for a quick, like,
yeah, it
right.
doesn't make sense.
It's like, no, it didn't make sense.
And even when they put Raekwon on Akumina, they made it work. They made it make sense with that album.
No, Outkast and Wu-Tang make sense because that's Southern slang and East Coast slang. It's like a vernacular war.
Right.
It's
but
like,
it wasn't like the Sonics were just so far out where it's like, oh no, you're trying to make something that would fit on the purple tape. You know what I mean?
It's two groups that have made doing something defiantly different work already.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Southern artists weren't naming their tracks Over the Woods in Babylon and Extraterrestrial and Two Dope Boys and AT. Like the song titles were different even. Their song titles were different.
Ray was all over the place during that time, man. He was on Tash's album as well during that
period. You remember that? That was one of the best songs.
I love Rap Life. I love Tash's album Rap Life too, man. Tash is an underrated guy, man. Shout out to him. Willard Winston with the super chat says, who was on top in 2009? That's the closest. Let's do some research on that too while I go through these super chats. Jay Short says 99. That wasn't Juvenile. It's a good point.
Ooh, solid.
Very good point. That might be Juvenile.
I mean, 400 Degrees is a game changer.
Game changer. It ran that whole year. Even though it technically came out in 98, but, you know, that whole Cash Money run runs off of that. Leroy Green is mad right now. 09, who we got? What all came out in 09, crew?
I'm pulling it up right now.
All right, let me see. Let me get to these other super chats. People are saying 09 is Drake.
We got Ray with the purple tape, too.
Yeah. People said Jeezy 05. That's interesting because I would put the Game over that. You were out in Cali in 05. What do you say between Game and Jeezy?
Game.
Okay. But the fact that Kanye did Late Registration and B, that's an MVP season.
Hold on, it's not Late Registration? It's Late Registration is 05 and B?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's not even a discussion.
Not to mention what he did on Kamikaze for Twister. I believe that was 05 too.
That might be his best year, Mike.
I think it is. Because I want to say that's when he was working with Brandy too.
That's two classics.
He was doing a lot.
That's classic artist, classic producer, classic executive producer all in 1 year.
That was his 95 actually. Yeah, for RZA.
Yeah, that was his 95.
Nas the Goat says, so where would y'all place Ja Rule? He ran some years. Ja Rule's biggest year would be I guess I could say 2000, 2001 ish, right?
I mean, so who were the contestants for? I'm gonna be honest, 2009 is not good. You got like Kid Cudi, Man on the Moon, The End of the Day. Got Gucci Man, State versus Roderick Davis. Got UGK for Life.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne's No Ceilings. Doom's Born Like This. You got the Purple Tape 2.
Mm-hmm.
Q-Tip released Kamal the Abstract. DJ Quick and Corrupt, that would be a sleeper for that year. Wale, Attention Deficit.
Transitional year.
The Ecstatic.
People love Most Def's Ecstatic.
I don't know why, but
I'm gonna go listen
again. But I don't. I mean, let's just be honest though. Is that better? Is it better than the Purple Tape 2? Because I would give it the Ray if you're really being honest.
Well, the Blueprint 3 is in that too.
Yeah, I mean that's why I know, Mike. That's why I said it's like, hold on. I mean, I enjoy the Blueprint 3, but it's not as good as the Purple Tape 2. Let's not get that confused.
But would he get the MVP over that because that's two guys, really? It's not better than the Purple Tape 2. I agree.
I'm with some co-MVP. I'm with Ray and Jay sharing some co-MVP. What do you think about a co-MVP? One guy made the bangers, like the stuff that got put out to the masses, but the other guy put the album together, and it was like both OG albums, but just different. It's like an OG street album, and then like an OG like for the masses album, and they both did it really well. It's
That's
just
one that could go either way. That's one that could go either way. If somebody said Jay's year was 01 and 09, I wouldn't be mad at that. But if they say that was Ray's year, or if somebody said that was Drake's year, I wouldn't be mad at that either. But it wasn't a great year. That's like winning in a lockout season.
You want to know what? There's nothing.
09 is the bubble in the lockout season.
Right. Nothing is exciting on the Blueprint 3 is when that beat drops and Ray goes, rapper stepping to me.
It want a brick, son.
Bricks, son. I'm the price, chef. And the beat,
my price is 26, son. Yo.
And here's the thing I want to get to, because we're going to talk about, one of, arguably hip hop's first real pioneer, Mike. Even back then, do you notice how Busy B was talking about, well, he wanted me for my voice? Mm-hmm. The voice, we can't put enough emphasis even in the origins and the early stages of this thing for the first MCs, how it wasn't even about if they could rhyme or not. If they had the voice to command and control the crowd, your voice matters in here.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Your voice matters.
Rapster with the super chat says graduation is 07, late registration 05. Yes, it is. I think there's some other super chats that I am missing. Oh, the Raisin Head says, I'm 96 when Big, Pac, Jay were already who they were lyrically. Nas was displaying a better display of rapping than them all with It Was Written and his features. Lyricist of the year for 96? Yes. But it's hard to beat Tupac in 96. It really is.
See, that's what I mean. So it's like, for that, that's why it's like, if you're saying 96, I would tell you 96 would be Pac's championship season, but Nas is the MVP that year. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, no, Pac wins the championship, but like Nas is the real MVP that year because the lyrical legend that he is cemented around that album, not Illmatic. It's the stuff that he did right after Illmatic. It's like, oh, he did that, but then he had this. That's the I Gave You Power, the setup. Take It in Blood.
Let's have this conversation because we just talked about the takeover. In the moment, how well was It Was Written received?
Not like it should have been, and I've always told you that.
And I think that it's hard to say he's the MVP if in the year of 1996, it wasn't received in the way that it should have been received. Because if it was received in that way, Jay would have never been able to get away with that line.
This is what I'm saying.
Album every 10-year average,
So listen to what I'm saying when I say that. And this is what makes that thought so ridiculous. Well, only one person was number one on the rap charts for 4 straight weeks that year. That was Nas with It Was Written. Not even The Score did that. The Score went number one on regular Billboard charts, not even hip-hop charts. All right?
Well, according to Ego Trip, he did that on the back of the Fugees.
Correct. Yeah. That's some bullshit.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is it's like, well, what do you want out of the MVP season? Because it's like, I know we're not about to talk about the rhymes. Well, you want the numbers? Because it's like, well, he went double platinum too. You want to talk about the singles? Because it's like, well, he was releasing number one rap singles too with Street Dreams remix, If I Rule the World. Well, you want the rhymes? There's I Gave You Power and Take It in Blood. You want collaborations? There's Nas Is Coming. There's Affirmative Action. There's Live Nigga Rap. Like, what do you want him to do?
You got B-sides like Silent Murder out there. I think 96 might be the year that I heard Nas on the radio the most.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, that might be Pac's championship season, but Nas is the MVP that year. He did some of everything. You got your street shit. You got your album shit. You got nobody had gotten a beat from Dre from the East Coast in 96. That's monumental stuff.
That's real. Michael Sanders with the super chat says, would love to hear you guys' top 10 hip hop voices. Go ahead, Coop. I know you know off the top where you're going with yours.
Biggie, Tupac, Method Man. That's like the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost of voices to me. Chuck B, KRS-One, Ice Cube. So we're at 6. Nas, Rakim, 7, 8. Scarface, 9.
What do you think about Jadakiss being in that? Raekwon or Jadakiss when it comes to rap voice?
I like Ray's voice better.
Okay. Did you
Let me get Kiss's voice also too. Kiss's voice is great, but also feel like it can limit him in some moments.
How so? Because he was able to get on that Maya Best to Me. He was able to get on Usher's I Want You Back.
It's too cool, Mike. The voice is too cool. It's too cool. It's too easy sometimes. That's what I mean. Like, he, even when him and Ray is on, you remember Broken Safety off the Purple Tape?
Mm-hmm.
He's got the best verse lyrically, but it's Ray's energy when his voice matches it. You know what I'm saying? Stop that. You know we done that. You know we run rap. Stop fronting, son. Put the gun back. It's different when Ray speak to you.
What about Andre 3000's
He's hitting
rap
the mic different, and it's his voice is what his voice does. That's what I mean about how your voice matters. It's the boom and the precision that Ray can provide at the same time. Like Ray's voice can boom and be precise all at once. It's like it can boom like Prodigy's and be like Ray vocally is actually somewhere between Kiss and Prodigy. You feel what I'm saying? This is not that heavy boom, but it's not that high pitched pierce. It's that pocket right in the middle that sounds so good.
What do you think about Andre 3000 or Pimp C's rap voice?
I was thinking about Andre in the back of my head when we were having this discussion. I would probably take Ice Cube out and put Andre in. I like Andre's voice more than Ice Cube's. Or I would take Cube or Scarface out and put probably Andre and Ray in.
What do you think about, and I'm going to flip this question a little bit. Who in the current generation do you think has the best rap voice?
Give me current, as in they came out when?
Came out in the past 10 years.
Shit. I think that's part of the problem.
Benny?
I told you Benny's got a great rap voice, but I was thinking about him and Cole, but I was about to say Cole's more than 10 years now. I can't say Cole anymore.
Yeah. What about, Freddie's more than 10 years too.
Freddie's more than 10 years too. That's what I was thinking about too, because I love Freddie's voice. Freddie and Kiss have a lot of the same vocal attributes to me in terms of how it hits you and pierces you, but Freddie's like way more aggressive.
It might be Benny, man, because I'm thinking.
It might be Benny. I was about to say, I'm thinking Benny.
Yeah.
Benny has the best rap voice of the last 10 years, or somebody that you've heard who's fresh. Yeah.
You know, Amani Ceasa's there too. If we want to stay in that camp, her rap voice is awesome.
She has a glorious fucking voice. Man.
Yeah. Jay Short
want her to be good.
Yeah. Jay Short with the super chat says Pac won finals, Super Bowl, and World Series in '96.
Right.
Mad Max with the super chat says I think of a chip the way the Rap Roundtable was discussing is about a classic album MVP is the impact that the person had that year. Okay. Championship would be a classic album. I could see that. We got a couple more super chats here. Hold on. Man Nan with the super chat says Pac, 2 projects in '96. That's MVP Finals, MVP All-Star, MVP. Ohio K says Lord Have Mercy's voice. Dope voice. And, Rock Marciano got a dope rap voice, too. Since we're going to go to flip mode.
But, see, that's what I'm saying. When you're saying they have dope voices, this is what I mean. If your voice can hinder you over the duration of a whole album, then that's not an all-time great rap voice. And so Lord Have Mercy and Rock Marciano would not fit that criteria.
Mad Max says Pop Smoke and Chef G has the best rap voices I've heard in the last 10 years.
Pop Smoke's voice. Pop Smoke.
So what do y'all think about Fabio Foreign then? I mean, very similar.
Pop has a way better voice than me.
Ohio K says, and Jizza's voice. You like Jizza's voice? Okay. I think Jizza has a very commanding voice.
It's an old school commander of the ceremonies voice, but I don't love his voice.
Flipper says Jay is biting from the book of the Andre 3000 book of building a cult around guest features and absolving himself from making an album. I think that is very astute. I've said that to myself today as well. Like, this buzz reminds me of the buzz we get whenever Andre shows up on anything. I think Coop and I were talking about that offline.
We've already said this. Yeah, it's just, they're getting in our heads of our behind-the-scenes conversations now.
Yeah. And I was saying that of Andre's feature run that people are so impressed by, the verse that impresses me the most is the verse with Big Boy, Royal Flush. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Royal Flush, and I would say International Players Anthem.
And it's funny, I agreed with you on both of those verses, and I'm right there with you. Outside of those 2 verses, not super impressed the way, and not saying the verses aren't impressive,
But
but
it
not
ain't greatest
impressed the
shit of
way
all
everybody
time shit.
else is. Yeah, the way
Yeah.
everybody else talks about those verses, we sitting down here like, it's like, yeah, but he
Yeah.
made Aquemini.
I mean,
Two
yeah.
dope boys in a Cadillac.
Now, I
So
will say this, and I said this offline as well, 16 Ain't Enough was the other one that I would say was very impressive.
yeah, it's gold, silver, bronze right there.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I mean, for me, it's almost like they hyped up the International Players Anthem verse so much in retrospect to the other great verses that are on there. Because I told you, Bun and Big Boy have dope ass verses on there.
I
And
think Big Boy's verse on there is great. I would put it in this order. I'm going Trey. But Pimp C's verse really sets it off because that's when the beat comes in, and that's when everybody really gets into the song.
That's when the
Pimp
party
C
starts.
Right. When Pimp C comes in, that's really when the song starts. So it's hard to really. I'm just gonna say Dre, Big Boy, Pimp C, and then Bun B.
Now you want to know what that record is, and it's rare that this happens this late for a region. That's probably the best collab song that's ever come out of the South, Mike. Outkast and UGK on International Players Anthem. That's the best collab ever.
Well, that's the one we've been waiting on. I think that when they did Tough Guy off of the Shaft soundtrack, it was a dope song, but it left room for a little bit more.
Throw Your Hands with 8Ball and MJG is
I was
there.
going to mention that
this
one.
Is the one.
I was going to mention that one too. And I love
Throw
that
Your
record.
Hands is dope. Sipping on Some Syrup is right there too. But International Players Anthem. Because it's UGK, because UGK, I think, for everybody, embody what the South is hip-hop-wise, and Outkast is the best group that we have hip-hop-wise. So when you put them together and they all perform, that's the record. And that's just no disrespect to Juicy J and DJ Paul. They're just not fucking Big Boy and Andre.
Nah, I think they know that. I'm a big 3-6 fan. I think that whenever, and this is my thing too, as a 3-6 fan in that era, whenever they used to segment their group off and you get 2 out of the 6 members, you still, like it's not the same.
Right.
Like so used to seeing all of them and hearing all of them together, because one of the biggest things of what, and talking about voices again, one of my biggest things when it comes to 3-6 is the vocal dynamics of everybody in that group. And that's what makes their songs so potent the way they do it. So when you just got 2 of the guys, it's not the same. I was going to say, and I know we probably don't want to talk about this record because of the individual, but Neck of the Woods, Outkast, and Mystical was a crazy record.
No, that's a dope ass record. I don't mind talking about Mystical. It's like, him being a predator doesn't change the fact that he did some great music. I've thought about some stuff. So I watched that Seinfeld show on Netflix, comedians getting coffee in cars. Because I'm from Charlotte, so we love some cars, especially some customized cars, and it has those. But to quote my friend Andrew, who I do the Mirror Music podcast with, I like watching people who are great at what they do talking about the greatness of it. And essentially that's what that show is. It's a legendary comic in Seinfeld who is talking to other legendary comics, and he runs the gamut. It's everybody from Will Ferrell to Dave Chappelle. It's all sides of the coin. And one of the things that I've kind of taken away from that show is that greatness has a niche to it that everybody kind of finds within themselves, and hip hop kind of works that way too. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so comparatively speaking, what you have, and this is just to kind of wrap up the Jay thing, it's like, well, he's the guy that can do what Seinfeld does, which is literally pull up on every other guy because of who he's been in the mass public eye. It's like, even if they don't like that guy, because of what that guy did for that time that he did it, which was so important. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's like, oh man, he can just literally pull up, be like, hey, want to get a cup of coffee? And it's like, half these people could hate this guy, but it's like, no, they're going to pull up with him. He's Seinfeld. You can't really tell him no or deny the contribution. There's some of that going on here. Because what I find so striking is the way that he's able to pull up on everybody, and it's very J-like.
Yeah, it is. Born King with the super chat says, after Illmatic, he had some of the best verses on features and mixtape verses. Eye for an Eye, Verbal Intercourse, Fast Life, More Money, More Murder, etc. Yes. Reggie says, what about Dre's verse on I Can't Wait? I love that verse. That was a little early, though. I feel like Outkast was still not totally done. I guess I'm thinking like well past Idlewild feature run. But I Can't Wait, correct me if I'm wrong, that was like '03, right? '02, '03. They were still kind of... No, that was
I
probably
feel like
around
that's '02.
'04. That might be like... Is '02? Was that before The Love Below?
Yeah, Idlewild was before the Love Below, man.
No,
Yeah.
Idlewild is after The Love Below. But I'm talking
Is it?
about... Yeah, it is. But I'm talking about that song. Was that song... I think that was slightly after The Love Below. Maybe
I'm
not
thinking
too
about the
far.
whole world and the greatest hits. That's
Yeah,
'02.
yeah. Now, that was before The Love Below. Nas the
Right.
GOAT says, where would y'all rank Ross's voice? That's a good question. Ross has a dope rap voice.
He does. It's up there.
I think it's very commanding. I think that he adjusts that production style that people take on and what they even took on God Did. It's tailored around Ross's voice. All the
It's a
Maybach
whole
music,
sound.
he has a whole sound. You know,
He has a
people
whole
talk.
sound.
Yeah, people talk about his beat selection, but even with that, it's not like his voice doesn't sound right over something like BMF. Like, it's very interchangeable. I think we need to talk about Ross's voice more. It's possibly top 10.
It's hard to because of Biggie, because it does a lot of the things that Big's voice does, and it's not as good. It's not.
We shouldn't hold that against him, though.
I mean, I'm not holding it against him, but it's like that. How about this? That's what gets held against Kobe in the top 10 talk.
Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, the thing is, I was going to
Well,
say...
LeBron's ranked higher in people's eyes.
Kobe mirrored a lot of things that, Michael Jordan did.
So does Rick Ross vocally to
Yeah,
Big.
I know. You're right. I mean, it's a great correlation. I mean, you're right.
Yeah.
I can't refute that. Well, I guess
that may matter more in this sport than it does in that sport.
Right.
You
right,
feel me?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. You can't help your voice though, but you can help how you play the game of basketball. Listen, I don't fault Kobe for doing that. You go out there, see the greatest player ever, and you mirror what they're doing to get your greatness in line. Who wouldn't do that?
Championship-wise, he only can. I mean, see, here's my thing, and this is how I always look at it. It's like, well, Mike has 6 rings as the man. Kobe has 2 rings as the man. He's got 5, but he's got 2 as the man. You feel me?
Well, I guess we could just go ahead and just deduce that to the 6 finals MVPs versus 2 finals MVPs. That tells you everything right there.
Just evidence. Yeah, it's just evidence.
Yeah.
Same thing when we go like the whole Kevin Durant, Steph Curry thing. It's like, oh, Steph's greater. It's like, well, how did it go when they played together and they were like in the finals? Who won those MVPs? How did that go?
Exactly.
That's the end of the conversation.
It is. Straight up.
It is. It just is. You played together for 3 years, went to 3 finals. One guy got hurt. When he got hurt, you couldn't win. The other time he was healthy, you won both times.
You're right. And he got
MVPs.
both finals MVPs.
Hold on. And listen, and you did that to LeBron. It's like you couldn't beat Kawhi without him.
Facts.
Don't tell me you're beating LeBron without him. You couldn't beat Kawhi without him.
You sound like me.
It's just the truth. I told you I'm from Carolina. People be giving me flack. It's like, no, I know what I saw.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to be honest, man.
I saw the fact that team, LeBron had like 8 rings right now if it wasn't for Kevin Durant going to Golden State.
True. Born King with the super chat says, first time I heard Mobb Deep was on the Nas song One on One from the Street Fighter soundtrack. Another classic Nas joint. Damn, he's digging in the
There's
crate.
stuff everywhere.
36 Chambers says, is there a Wu-Tang member with a weak voice or that falls behind the other members? You know, the quote-unquote weakest member to a lot of people has one of the stronger voices.
Because you got,
yeah.
Right. Him and Meth are actually vocally comparable at times.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a lot of Method Man to his voice. Yeah.
I like Master Killer's voice, too.
I didn't love his voice at first, but then I realized his voice is necessary in order for the clan to work. Glacier's Ice would be the example.
That's the first thing I thought about. Proceed with caution as you enter the symphony.
Here's the other one. Duel of the Iron Mike.
Yeah.
I
would say, in my opinion, and this is no slight to anybody, because Wu-Tang is the most lyrically dense group of all time. I would say the bottom part of Wu would be You God, Master Killer. They both have strong voices.
Yes, and strong bars, Mike, on Duel of the Iron Mike,
Yeah.
who can withstand this astonishing, punishing stings to the sternum, chopped in the hip hop lock stop, seeking for a serum to cure him. That's Master Killer.
That's your 8th member? That's crazy.
That's the low end. That's the low end bar work of the Wu-Tang Clan. It's the low end bar work. Astonishing, sternum, punishing. This is the bar work that's going on by Master Killer.
It's insane. Jay Short with the super chat says, for old school voices, it has to be Kumo D. I like Kumo D's voice. But see, again, like what Cooper's saying.
That's part of why he beat Busy D. He had a better voice.
You had to have a great voice back then. You know, speaking of which, I think there's somebody you left out in that top 10, and I think he has a top 5 voice. LL Cool J.
I was thinking Slick Rick.
Oh, yeah, him too. All the old school guys are going to take this top 10 up because you had to have a great voice.
You had to. That's why I was like, well, really, Mike, and you're right. If you think about it, it's like Cool G Rap and Kane have distinct voices, and they're the only voices that you wouldn't say are like all-time great, maybe. You know what I mean? Like
Kane has a great voice. I was just listening to Smooth Operator. Great
voices.
Yeah, I was just listening to Smooth Operator.
I love Cool G Rap's voice because it sounds like nothing that you've ever heard before.
What about DMX? This is a beat that I can freak. It just dropped the real. He has a legendary voice.
Who, DMX?
Yeah, people go out there on stand-up comedy trying to imitate him. Yeah.
Might be top 10. It's top 10 this year.
Yeah.
Hard.
Born King says, name one bad verse from Master Killer. I'll wait.
That's what I'm saying. And you want to know what's crazy? Is that he'll show up and show out, and you won't notice because it's like, well, he rarely has the best verse. Even that verse on Duel of the Iron Mike, it's the weakest verse on there still. Because that comes in right after him and just destroys the record.
I think he's the least flashy member of the Wu.
Yeah.
He's the least flashy member.
But this is what I mean. It's vocally because it's like his verse lyrically is comparable to Deck on Duel of the Iron Mike. But then Deck's voice comes in. The thugs kill for drugs, plus the young bucks bust. Duck in handcuffs, throats get cut when dough rust. Out of town foes look shook but still pose. We move like real pros through the streets we stroll. Bullet holes lace with windows and 160. So control the avenue, that's the dream that's old. That motherfucker nice, Mike. That motherfucker nice.
Crazy.
They nice.
What about Guru? People are talking about Guru with the voice. I like Corrupt's voice too. I love
Corrupt's voice like that. See, that's what I mean. It's like Corrupt and Guru's voice for a whole album. Sometimes it's like it has its moments though.
Really?
Yeah, you don't feel that way? Like, I'm going to be honest with you. What stands out to me about Moment of Truth over all the other Gangstar albums is how long Guru holds up. Oh, that's a great production. It's like in the end, that's what I mean about how long Moment of Truth is. And even the guest appearances come around at like the right time to break it up. It's like you don't hear him at all until you hear Deck on Above the Clouds. That's about 4 or 5 straight records of Guru. They break it up.
Did you say Snoop or Q-Tip?
Thinking Snoop. I forgot about Q-Tip. That's what I'm saying. We can do this for days. I told you it matters more than people are really giving it credit for. Look at all the top MCs of all time. Well, we're naming them right now. It's funny how most of them have great voices. There's only a few people listening to this conversation, like Wayne, Kendrick. We're naming the other guys.
Yeah. The thing about Snoop, especially when you look at Doggy Style, he held down so many of those great songs by himself. You don't really notice how great his voice is in contrast to others until you hear something like Serial Killer. And it's like, when he comes in, it's like, whoa. Now you in the midst of the Dog Pound crew. Or like, it ain't no fun.
So that's what I'm saying. How can you say Corrupt has a great voice when it's like...
No, I'm wrong. I'm just reading the chat.
Yeah. Like, because here's the thing. How about this?
Bringing up names.
How about this? I love Deck's voice. Deck ain't in Ray and Mess league vocally.
Yeah.
For as piercing and as stunning as he can be.
I mean, listen.
Because that'll hold up for an album worth of being wanting to listen to you vocally.
As great as I think Corrupt is, and I had Streets as a mother, I listen to that front to back, whatever. He can't make a Who Am I, What's My Name like Snoop did, man. You got to be special to make a record like that.
Even think about Snoop on the joint with Beanie Siegel off The Becoming.
Yeah.
Like, I like Siegel's rap voice, but it's like when Snoop comes in on the hook, it's like, oh, that's one of the best voices ever.
It is.
And you don't stop.
Yeah, Snoop is the top 5 voice. Ryan Gillen with the super chat.
It should be. Hold on. Snoop or Slick Rick?
I'm giving Snoop. Damn, I don't like that, man. I shouldn't have to choose between them two. I think both of them deserve to be in the top 5.
Top 5?
I think
They're
so.
not making my top.
They have
I
such
don't know.
distinctive voices, man. Like,
I've got. I mean,
think
I've
the
got Biggie, Method
versatility
Man,
of the
and Pac,
voice.
like top 1, 2, 3, like however you want to mix and match. My 1, 2, 3, like you're not getting inside my top 3. Those are the 3 best rap voices I ever heard.
You said Method Man, Biggie, and who else?
Tupac.
You know, when you listen to America's Most, I think it could be an argument that Snoop's voice is better than Tupac's voice.
Because you mean when you listen to Doggy Style?
I feel like
you said America's Most.
Not America's Most. I'm talking about the song. 2 of America's Most Wanted. With both of them
2 of America's Most. Oh, you're talking about the song.
Yeah. With both of them going back and forth, you asked me if I just dropped in from space and you asked me who had the best rap voice on there, I'm going Snoop.
I don't agree.
I'm sorry, I am, man. It's like hug, blood, gang bang, and everybody getting in the corner doing dope
to get with her. No, I can't. No.
You gotta have papers in this world. You might get your first shit before your eye swirl. You're doing your job. I don't know, man.
About the flow. If you want to talk about the flow, then yeah, you can give them the flow, but I'm not giving them.
I don't know, man.
Voice, no.
Picture perfect.
Like Pac's voice is like somewhere from like the soul of Chuck D, but like it's not as heavy, but it's almost as heavy. But the power, like nobody's been able to emphasize and enunciate in hip hop with the power vocally the way Pac was.
Ryan Gilliam with the super chat says, "Have y'all listened to the infamous album that has Prodigy's vocals replaced by Nas?" No, have not. I'm sure that's correct.
Somebody sent that to us on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Not on YouTube, on Twitter.
Got to check that out. Stillmatic says Snoop is a top 5 voice, and I'm giving Pac 95 and 96. Me Against the World is an underrated album. I don't know if underrated is the word to describe Me Against the World. It's just different, says Beanie Siegel's voice. Beanie has a great voice. And I think that's why we make such a big deal about Beanie's voice not being where it used to be. Because his rap voice was so great.
No, that's what I mean. And so even when you put Beanie next to Snoop, it's like, well, nah.
Boy and King says RZA's voice is trash, though. Yeah. Wow.
You want to know what? I give you Snoop top 5, Mike. It's hard not to, because part of the appeal when you first hear him on Deep Cover is it's like you had never heard nobody sound like that before.
Yeah, man.
It was part of the buy-in with Q-Tip. It was even part of the buy-in with Nas, because even for whatever you feel about Nas, nobody had ever heard somebody vocally who sounded like him rap like that before that was coming from out there. All the other guys were really, really like heavy and throaty and loud.
Inspector with the super chat says Master Killer got the best verse on Triumph. I've never heard that before. And your name is Inspector. You're wildin'. Are you trolling, Inspector? Man there with the super chat says Buster, Chubb Rock, LL Cool J, KRS, Heavy D, Cube, Face. Okay. Let me see. Get through these. We got Born King says Dave East's voice reminds me of Guru. I've never heard that either. Rapster says, have y'all mentioned the Busta Rhymes? Definitely a top hip hop voice. Flipper says, Slick Rick's Sitting in My Car came on randomly on my XM radio today. I had to pull over and listen twice. That voice and the charisma is a one of one. Yeah, it is.
I would be cool if Snoop and Slick Rick were like my 4 and 5. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Computer Blue says, Pac's voice shook the White House. Holla if you hear me. Jay Short with the super chat says, honorable mention to Black Rob, my favorite voice. R.I.P. I like Black Rob's rap voice. I think it's very interesting.
He's one of hip-hop's most underrated storytellers, and part of what makes him such a great storyteller is his command of his voice. Yes.
Jay Short says, Snoop's voice and flow changed rap. Born King says, Snoop on that Pac song reminded me of Melly Mel on The Message. I mean, yeah, he took the flow and everything, but I'm just saying what he was able to do to cut through with his voice. You know, going back and forth with somebody with a voice like Pac ain't easy. And Snoop was able to do it seamlessly.
Well, I was about to say, see, here's the problem. Who else is even big enough to do back and forth with Pac around that time?
I'm trying to think of whoever did a back and forth with Pac.
It's hard. That's what I'm saying. He vocally dominates you so much.
Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't feel like that on that song.
Like, so how about this? Vocally, Pac is like Shaq. Snoop is like Hakeem.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I could see that.
Yeah.
Power
Snoop's gonna
versus
dream shake and slide and pivot and underhand you and shimmy. You know what I mean? Pac is like dunk.
Well, with all that being said, I guess we can kind of close out this subject. I just think that, and I know this is kind of off subject because we were talking about something else. I think that we still need a Jay-Z album, and I don't think that this 4-minute verse is going to blind the real hip-hop fans from the notion that, KD2, Magic, and all that's out there. I mean, right now, Jay-Z's second place. I love him. I think he's had an incredible career. I think he's one of the greatest lyricists of all time, one of the greatest MCs. His longevity is incredible. But I can't just sit here and gush over a verse like this when Nas just made KD2 and Magic. I just can't. Maybe if that didn't happen, maybe I would feel different. Maybe if Nas is just, had dropped Nasir and that's it, and this is what we got to go on for our greats from the 90s, maybe I would feel different. But after Magic and KD2 dropped in the same year, 27 years in your career, this verse doesn't move me in that way where I'm acting like, yo, he's the greatest. Because that's the conversation. So, still need an album.
I dig this.
Varel says, how about Rock This Monster? Yeah. Hell, Sean Price too. Yeah, man. Rock's
got a great voice.
Rock and Ruck got a great voice.
That's the Lord Have Mercy thing. Him and Lord Have Mercy have like brilliant voices, but it's like, you gonna listen to that whole album for a solo album?
Well, I don't know about a solo album, but they really contrast really well together. I love Magnum Force. Like, a lot of people like the first album, but Magnum Force.
Magnum Force is the shit, Mike. And
Rock
they found
is
their
a monster on there.
Like, how about this? I wish they would have stayed together as a duo.
I do too, man. I love it. But they did. They did, but didn't. You know what I mean? Like, they were still cool.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
No, they didn't.
Sean Price was just too much as a solo
They, to me, were closest to, like, being able to potentially give Mobb Deep some run as far as that East Coast duo when I heard Magnum Force.
Oh,
so the fact that never materialized, and Magnum Force, it's no infamous by any means, but you know what I'm saying?
That album,
but it was there. Like, the bars were there. Like, lyrically, them two together are better than Havoc and Prodigy because, Ruck and Sean are better than Havoc. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, they're better than a lot of people.
About to say, but I mean, how do you feel about them even within the boot camp clique, Mike? Because I thought 2 of the 3 best members of the boot camp clique are Helter Skelter.
Yeah. I mean, you can hear that shit on the I Ain't Having That. Like, I love that record. That was one of them songs that when it used to come on like BET or whatever, I would stop everything. Like, those dudes was just going at it. Like, the whole song. It was like boom, boom, boom.
No, they was nice. And the records were there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can't stand me because I pack heat like Miami, waiting on you niggas outside of the Grammys. They be killing me, how they willing to be drilling me, because your shorty wop just be feeling me. Is it me? On my at Go Chain or the way on up the Soul Train, I got niggas on the West Coast. They carrying heat in their trench coats. What do you say?
I mean, so that's what I'm saying. But I mean, Rock and Sean, I mean, like, it's them and Buckshot to me. And then it's after that, I'd probably go Tech.
Mm-hmm. I agree with all of that. Reggie, super chat.
I mean, I don't know about you, but Mike, even at the time, it's like, even though Buckshot was kind of still like the star of the group, I always thought that Ruck and Sean were a little bit better MC-wise, and I had Buckshot third, and then I had Tech.
Back then, man, I was more of a Ruck guy.
No, I told you Ruck. And then
no,
Sean,
not Ruck. I'm sorry. I was more of a Rock guy. You know what I mean? And then Sean Price just came through and just started going crazy. Sean Price took over the boot camp clique over time.
Yeah, over time.
But I think back then, yeah. Reggie with the super chat says Notorious B1 voice. Y'all look crazy.
It's very shady.
Well, you know what, man? That story just went away. I would expect like the Art of Dialogue or somebody to interview Notorious B1. Some people, and maybe they're listening to the show now, some people have gone in our comment section saying that they were there during those sessions. We're like, look, reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you about the situation, but nobody is coming forth on anything. So if Notorious B1 ain't gonna say anything and any of the people involved ain't gonna say anything, I guess I can only assume that maybe it's not like they're saying it was.
I mean, Mike, sometimes you get paid off and the money goes, but you still got to shut the fuck up.
Well, again, you get paid off, like you said. Then it's a non-issue, right? After you
Quiet.
get paid off, it's a non-issue.
I mean, because here's the thing: if we are reaching out and opening up a viable avenue for people to speak, and they're not speaking, I always look at it like this: is like when something like this bubbles to the surface, and then people get quiet. It's like, well, you're either being intimidated and/or extorted, or you've already been paid off.
Right.
Now, if you're not
Or
being
it's not
intimidated
true. We got to
and/or
give
extorted,
that.
you've been paid off. And
We got to give
I'm
that
gonna
other
lean
option
towards the
too.
non-violent.
Well, we got to give that other option too. To be fair, maybe it just didn't happen, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you don't think Vlad TV or Art of Dialogue has reached out to the Notorious B1?
Did you hear that record, Mike?
I heard the record.
Oh, this shit happened.
Maybe it came out in '95. I don't know. Ain't nobody saying nothing. I don't
Hey,
know.
Mike. We don't have no solid proof on OJ. This better than OJ shit, all right? You be walking around talking about that OJ didn't do his shit. It's like, oh, no. You're right, Mike. We still don't have all the evidence. We got evidence, Mike.
Well, again,
I like to present.
Nobody's testifying, Coop.
They be like, do you have an Exhibit B? They're like, motherfucker, did you see Exhibit A? They're like,
but Coop,
right, jury's going to deliberate.
You don't have a witness. Nobody's going to the stand. So
we don't got Mike, we got the gun with fingerprints, though. Give a fuck about a witness when we got a gun with fingerprints. Give a fuck about a witness. Fuck a witness.
Because this is my thing.
This is my thing. Hands on the gun, right? Take that.
But Coop, this is my thing. I think that the initial article is bogus because who talked to this guy and now you don't want to talk? You know what I mean? Like the initial article has to be bogus. I would say that at least, right?
All I gotta say is take that.
Darren Harris with the super chat says, better Venus versus Mars song, Cube, Yo-Yo, Nas, Foxy, Hardcore, Ghost and Charlie Stand Up, Jay and Foxy Ain't No Nigga, and Kim and B.I.G. Another. My favorite song out of all of those,
first one,
is Ghost and Charlie.
I'm going Cube and Yo-Yo.
I like that one too.
I don't like stand up like that.
I love stand up. I'm like Spider-Man's big brother.
You just love all things Ghost from that time period, and he can't tell you nothing. Right.
Like Spider-Man's big brother up in the Clan, drop like crack that's scattered all up in your van. Man. Reggie says, Lords of the Underground, Chief Rocker. I don't know what that was a response to. LP with the super chat says, the J-verse showed me that there are more people that care about how you say something than what you're saying. I need both, but what you're saying goes over how you say it. I agree. I think that verse is more so about the way he's styled on certain things because there's nothing intricate to break down there for the most part. And I think a lot of the reaches that were there on MSNBC were simply that, reaches, right? One thing that Jay said that I thought was kind of odd, he said, you know how hard it is to rap for 4 minutes and everything you say be true? I'm like, does that mean that other rappers ain't saying true stuff?
Hold on. What kind of goalpost move is that? It's like, do you know how hard it is to rap for 4 minutes and tell the truth? It's like, well, seeing how people have been rapping on record for like the last, 40 years, I'm pretty certain it's happened before.
So I guess he feels like if you rap for a certain length, the niggas just start making shit up, huh?
What does that mean? Is Kendrick lying on Duckworth? Like, this is what I'm saying. You see how long is Duckworth?
I don't know. It's probably like 5 minutes.
I want to know because it's like, this is what I'm talking about. It's like, you see how when Jay does something, it's like, oh, no, nobody's ever done that.
The wild part about it, not to cut you off, Coop, is when he says stuff like that, everybody just sits there and check that. No one challenges anything. Because the first thing I would have said was like, so other rappers ain't telling the truth?
Yeah, I mean, Mike, Duckworth is literally Kendrick going on like a 3.5 minute rant. Nobody says anything about it ever. It's like, it's a brilliant song. You get what I'm saying?
Well, you know how hard it was for him to tell the truth?
Duckworth for 4 minutes or this for 4 minutes?
Well, you know how hard it was for him to tell the truth. Reggie says, Diddy sent Dylon to pay the man. To pay that man a visit, excuse me.
With some cheesecake.
With some cheesecake, yeah. Cold words. Jay Short with the super chat says, I don't think engineers know how to amplify these rappers' voices now. Engineers overall in hip hop have suffered. Yeah, I just think the rappers just don't have the voices anymore. And you know what? I got to be fair, Coop. I give Kanye West a lot of credit for changing things in the game. He changed that too.
He's part of the problem with this.
Yeah.
So part of where he changed the game and let every man get in is that he let every man get in.
Who doesn't have a voice.
What you'll find is that since he's gotten in the door, well, guys vocally aren't as strong.
You're right.
Because even with Common's got a great fucking rap voice.
He does.
He does. Twista's got a great rap voice.
People say I used to sound like Common and Ludacris or whatever, voice-wise. But, you know.
People be saying you sound like Common, Luda, Andre. Niggas can't make up their mind when you sound.
No, just saying vocally. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know.
I think delivery-wise, when I hear you vocally and delivery-wise, it meshes up to Andre the most. When I hear you, like when you're, I can hear somebody hears you talk how they would feel like you sound like Common, but when you rap, because of your cadence, it's more Andre 3000. But that's also Atlanta too.
Yeah, that's an influence though. That's a direct influence, really.
Right.
Mel 531 says, just tune in, but MC Ren has a great rap voice also. Yeah, he does.
You had to have a great rap voice. That's why
everybody
it's like all these guys that we're naming that rap before 1993, essentially. It's like, oh, their rap voices are excellent. And then you get like 93 to like 2000. And it's like, well, most of those voices, like, how about this? How you feel about Redman's voice? I think Redman was the first great rapper I heard who didn't have what I call an all-time great voice. He's the first all-time great MC without an all-time great voice to me.
I think Redman had a great voice in that period, especially on.
You see what I'm saying? It was different, but would you say his voice is all-time great in relationship to think about this? Because he's coming along right after Chuck D, Ice Cube, Slick Rick, LL, Kane,
Leroy Green,
KRS.
Yeah,
is his voice in that category?
Leroy Green says, but Michael Eric Dyson would say different. Michael Eric Dyson would tell you that Beyonce is greater than Michael Jackson. I don't want to hear anything that Michael Eric Dyson has to say in regard to
Michael Eric Dyson has been more consumed with fame and using literary devices than connecting to the people. And until he recalibrates those things, I really am not that interested.
Well, I could see him actually selling a book on this Jay-Z verse. I could see Michael Eric Dyson.
I'm pretty certain he's writing the book.
He's probably writing the book right now.
As we
Hov
speak.
did the book by Michael Eric Dyson.
A 70-page dissertation on why Jay-Z commands the authority of the white establishment in America to pay attention and notice and recognize the greatness of the black man within the entendres of his rhyme schemes.
Kong King with the super chat says, Kendrick also lying for 7 minutes on Sing About
Next thing you know, Mike, rappers are going to be pulling up and acting like Shakespeare wrote everything. Hold up, already happened. Right.
Speaking of Kendrick, and Kendrick Sing About Me and all that stuff, did you see the music video that Kendrick Lamar put out for We Cry Together?
My question is why did he take so long to do something that we knew he was going to do the exact way in our minds that we thought it was going to play out? Did you think by delaying this process of something that we, like, tell me, when you see him sitting at that style of table, in that style of home, looking like with the, is that not what you envisioned in your mind? It's almost like, well, yeah, that's what I thought it was.
I feel like people
have thought you were, and this is what I thought it was.
I feel like people have already put out fake videos exactly like it.
Because it's what it is.
This video should win an Emmy. I think he did a great job. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think, all right, look, when I saw the video, I was like, Kendrick might have a future in acting. You don't think so?
Hold on. So, no, I'm saying that in jest, but I'm being serious when I say that. It's just like, well, if this was the moment of the album and we were like, this is a play, it's like, is everybody saying it a play? Why you delayed it? Because you could have helped yourself by putting this out, because
this should have come out May 13th.
Yeah, it's actually very well put together.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
And it's actually
What's the
good
delay
acting going on? It's like What was the holdup? It was because we all knew what it was, and you just have to be different. You see, here's what happens when you're so creative and so challenging and so different. You see how you get in your own head and like the simple shit. It's like this shit should have been done 3 months ago, nigga. Like, what's up?
You know what probably happened?
Great job.
This is conspiracy theory here. I don't have any information. Maybe he went out there and tried to do something totally different, and it just turned out bad. And then he had to just bite the bullet and do what everybody thought it was going to be.
You mean the actual script? Because it plays out like a play, so you should probably stick to the script.
Yeah.
And it plays out that way, isn't it? It's a good acting job. The scenery is appropriate.
Yeah.
It doesn't fail you anywhere at any turn. It's rather entertaining. So my only question is it like, and maybe, and I hate to say this because he would be in this category now. What's up with these old ass rappers taking too long this year? Pusha T, Kendrick, Black Thought. It's like, why are y'all delaying like the release of this material? And like, what are these habits? Like, where are they getting this from?
That reeks of the record labels to me.
Because Hit Boy can't go produce for everybody and put them back on game, apparently. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's like, I just don't like the timing that some of these older artists are using. He would classify as that now.
Well, yeah, he's in that bracket. Mad Max in
the
the super chat says...
The first album came out over a decade ago, so...
Mad Max says, that music video was wild. That video's soft XXX. Well, they did have that one scene at the end that was, a bit much. But you're right. I think that for the people... And, a lot of the people, we posted it on According to Hip Hop or shared it on According to Hip Hop, and you could tell from some of the comments, the people may not have listened to that album. But I think that this is a visual that if it was put out on May 13th, it would have gotten people to listen to the album even more than they already did. I think that with an album like that, you can listen maybe to a couple of songs because it's bubbling and the fact that it's Kendrick, and you might tune out. But I think if he would have put these visuals out, people would have actually went and listened to the album. But maybe this is a thing, and I'm sitting here thinking of things while I'm even speaking. Maybe he didn't put this out, Coop, because he wanted people to listen to the album and not go directly to that song. Because if he would have actually put out this song, you don't think people would have just straight up went to this song and maybe tuned out with the rest of the effort?
I mean...
You know what I'm saying? Because this song definitely stands out in the album.
Okay, so when you're saying this prevented him from listening to the other songs, potentially by releasing it sooner, that wouldn't have been an injustice, okay? That wouldn't have been an injustice because it's a mid.
I think if this song...
that's not the rationale or the reason. You get what I'm saying? It's like, I want them to get the full album experience. You want them to get the full album experience of this mid, or would you like to highlight the highlights while you get back in the lab and work on something better?
I think if this song would have came out, I think if this visual would have came out, this song would have definitely eclipsed everything that was on the effort. And I think that, I hate to say it like this, because I'm not as down on Mr. Morale as you are, but I think a lot of people would have felt like that the album missed the mark if this was the one that was put out there. You know what I mean? Because it really is, I don't want to say it's the best song on there, but it has the most standout attributes on it, and I think it's the most dynamic song on there. So if this was put out and this was the standard that people had for it, I think they might have been disappointed hearing the rest of it, if that makes any sense.
It's very problematic.
Blue Collar Hustle says it was delayed due to Oscar considerations. Oh, okay. All right.
Well,
Well, I'll be looking forward to that at the ceremony. Jay Short with the super chat says, notice Kendrick talk never about the new music. Notice Kendrick talk never about the new music.
Notice Kendrick never talks about the new music is what he's saying. As in, he doesn't talk about this album. He hasn't been doing promo or talking about these songs because these songs aren't that good.
DeCarlo with the super chat says the Heart 5 still the best video.
Always
Do you agree with that?
No. That's just digitized animation and morphine. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that?
I think this is the best video. Do you think that the Heart Part 5, if on this album, would be one of the strongest songs on there?
Yes.
I think so. I think that it should have. I know the Hearts never make it on there, but It's unfortunate. It should have been on this effort.
No, that's what I mean. That's how you know this album is submit. Is it like the Heart Part 5 would have been one of the strongest songs on there? Would the Heart Part 5 be good enough to make any of his previous projects?
I don't want to say good enough, but I don't think it would have fit.
Right.
But it wouldn't have been one. It wouldn't have been missed.
Like where song quality? I mean, it's better. I guess like if you were to put it up against some of the stuff like that just sits right there on Damn, like side by side, like maybe. But Damn plays so well together. Right. That's what I mean. It's like that's what I mean about when you're executing these themes, these archetypes, and it plays well versus when it doesn't. Well, what you have when it doesn't is some mid. It's some mid. The writing's A1. The writing is A1. The writing's incredible. You want to know what? The Sound and the Fury by William Faulkner, man, Mike, that's some A1 writing. That shit is boring as fuck. Right.
Uncle Fran with the super chat says, yes, Mike, 75% of the rappers are lying. And Michael Eric Dyson is only bad if he's talking about Jay. Your comment section was going crazy. Comment section was going crazy because he wrote "Born to Use Mics."
Mid.
And not so mid. Inspector says "We Cry Together" is a mid Alchemist beat. Mad Max says,
"No, that was an Alchemist beat. That makes it some mid."
What? No, you know what? When the video was on and the beat came on, all I heard was do 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 do, and I was hearing like West Side Gun in the back. In my mind, Mad Max of the super chat says he should have did an entire visual play for every song and put it out like Beyonce's Lemonade idea. She stole from Ye. I didn't realize she stole Lemonade.
We said that he needed to just go ahead and make this a whole. You know,
I mean, I think he should make it a whole thing because I think that would make the other songs stand out well. I think
we said that we said the only way that this made sense was to do it that way. Like we literally said that.
Well, we did say that. And we said that before we heard the album. We were talking about how long of a break, and it was like when you come back from a break like that, it just makes sense that you could say, you know what? Well, I was shooting a whole motion picture the whole time for this project. I think that the song Mr. Morale, or is it The Big Steppers? Yeah, The Big Steppers, that song. I think that would really play well with a music video. She's a killer, he's a killer, we some killers. Yeah, I think that would be a great music video. I hope that's next. KC1 says, do you think that Rock Marcy and Griselda are children of the Purple Tape? Most definitely.
Easy.
Most definitely.
Aren't we all in some sort of hip hop way though?
Right. Mad Max of the super chat says "We Cry Together" was a great first listen, no replay value. From that, son, I think that the sequencing on Mr. Morale isn't great from that song. Let's see. We got Half-Life says "We Cry Together" was delayed because the fans wouldn't have expected a hip hop album if they heard it first. You know, it seems like these major artists are kind of like either playing their hands too soon or not, you know, playing the spade when they need to. Because the Pusha T record with Jay, Neck and Wrist, man, that shouldn't have been put out so early.
Yeah, that's like playing a big joker and ain't no spades been put on the table yet. It's like, what you doing,
like, what are we doing? Yeah, we should have heard that when we heard the album. That should. But you know what, Coop? Looking back on it, maybe they wanted the release to be about Pusha T and not about Jay's verse, because we see how crazy people go when they hear a Jay verse. So maybe the mindset was, you know what, let's put this song out now so when Pusha T drops this album, people could talk about the album as opposed to just talking about Jay-Z's feature.
So let's say that happens, all right? You need to hold Diet Coke then and drop joint with Jay first. Either way, anywhere you want to call it. I told you, like, Diet Coke to me is still a better song. One of those records needed to get held.
I agree.
For his sake.
Diet Coke should have been held.
If you want to say for all those reasons to keep it about Pusha, then go ahead and drop Neck and Wrist and get all this Jay talk out the way. And so that way, because you want to know what? Diet Coke's an excellent way to get people to stop talking about that verse and get to your album.
I agree. And, you know, what people need to do at this point when we're talking about the major artists, they need to drop their song and visuals the day of the album. But I think a lot of that is confidence, though. You have to be confident enough in a single.
In what you're doing and what you got,
yeah,
right?
Because
he didn't know what he had. This is what I keep trying to say. It's like, well, this took so long. because he didn't even know what he had. Because like you were saying, and you said this and you called this, you were like, Coop. I was like, this isn't coming out because he's being all artsy and taking too damn long because we done crowned him. And you're like, nah, Coop, the songs just ain't there. I think he's making stuff and it's not working out.
Yeah.
And what happens is that when you lose your confidence in some of your creative vision, you got to wait for what the people say again before you get back to work and create something. If he was confident in this project, it would have came with the visual aid equipped to it. Think about this. About to talk about Lil Baby.
I want to talk about Lil Baby. I want to talk about Lil Baby. Go ahead. Yeah.
Me too. But you get what I'm saying? It's like, oh no, he feeling confident right now. He like, no, I'm dropping this single. Already got a video done to it. Fuck all that. Boom. We out here.
That's you like the song?
Now. Huh?
You like the song?
Not really.
I didn't either.
You want to go ahead and get into it so we can get off Kendrick?
Yeah, let's talk about
every
that.
Time we talk, hold on. Every time I talk about Kendrick, I'm a hater who doesn't know my stuff. Other than that, it's like, man, Coop's brilliant. He's so insightful. I talk about Kendrick. This nigga don't know shit.
And, you wrote an article saying that Kendrick was top 10. So, you're not a Kendrick hater.
What? It's top 10 what?
MC of all time.
Oh, not after this?
No, but I'm saying you wrote an article once upon a time saying that. So you're not a Kendrick hater. You're just, being critical of this effort.
I believe that article that's about 5 years old now also spoke to him needing to maintain this pace.
Yeah.
That pace was damn.
He was on an incredible pace.
It's on the best pace ever, actually. Him and Kanye probably have had the best starts ever.
And him as an MC, it's different. You know what I'm saying? Like Kanye's is more about him being an overall artist, not a lyricist. Yeah.
Right, but no, the album, I'm talking about as far as like the way the albums sound, the best starts. Like, you know what I mean? If you look at their 4 album starts, their 4 album starts are as good as it's ever been as far as 4 album starts.
Especially for a mainstream artist and not having the luxury to duck underground and make like a cult classic that didn't do commercially well. They did commercially well and they had, critical acclaim. Yeah, Volume 3 and Nostradamus are Nas and Jay's 4th album. Scarface's 2nd album is The World Is Yours. That's not all that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, it's hard to make 4 great albums out the gate. It's hard. Volume 3, man. I mean, Volume 3 is weird in a sense where... It's weird. It's a weird time. That's 99 again. It's a weird time. Volume 3 is weird in a sense where it's like, okay, it got Big Pimpin' on it. You know what I mean? Like, he did his job when it comes to staying Jay-Z and continuously being able to make hits. But as far as quality album, it's not that. Do It Again is a great record to put out there. We still hear that record. And honestly, the standout stuff on Volume 3 aged fairly well. But overall, what we expect from Jay, just from beginning to end with an album, it's not that. And it's crazy because the intro and outro give you that feel like you're about to hear something special. It does. Yeah. But it doesn't hit that mark. I saw, to make a segue, somebody said that, I saw a post where people were saying that after looking at Lil Baby's documentary, they think he's the Jay-Z of Atlanta or something. But I don't know. Talk about the music. Okay. This new record, what's the name of this song? Is it Detox? Detox. I didn't like it. I didn't either. Yeah, people talk about mumble rap, and, I always say I think that it's unfortunate that, let's just keep it real. I think Ebro at Hot 97 came up with this term, and it wasn't a term of endearment on any levels. So, old man Ebro came up with this term, and Migos always get pegged with this whole mumble rap thing, and I can hear what they're saying clearly. This song sounded like a bunch of mumbling to me. You want to know what I was thinking about? You and I have been having the whole 21 Savage Lil Baby thing, and I was really thinking when I was listening to this record, I was like, Mike likes Savage because Savage has a better rap voice that you can hear, and Savage knows who he is on the mic. Because here's what I was telling you, part of why I picked Lil Baby is because, it's kind of like, it's like when I first heard about Kyrie. I knew even then it was like, no, the way they were talking about Kyrie, it's like, no, he's different. Like the talent and the skill level, like coming out of Duke when he was getting recruited by Duke. The way that they were talking about him, keep in mind, Jason Williams had just been there.
This place that had Bobby Hurley. This place that had All-American point guards. They were talking about him differently. Bobby Hurley was the all-time assist leader at the time. They were talking about Kyrie differently. Like, it was almost like when Kenny Anderson went to Georgia Tech kind of talk. It's like, this guy's like something else.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing kind of here that I was seeing with Lil Baby early on when I was hearing him like on Crash Talk with Schoolboy Q on Water. I'm like, he's rapping like he's got a point to prove. You know what I mean? Very T.I. like early on. And I'm not going to say that money and fame have gotten to him, but he doesn't appear to have a clear, focused vision about who he is as an artist, because I haven't heard any improvement since My Turn, and I didn't think My Turn was that big of an improvement. I thought that was a stand pat, and that was 2.5 years ago.
I just saw Lil Baby sitting down with Stacey Abrams, and he's been to the White House, sitting there with Kamala Harris and all of this stuff. Like, I think that when things happen really fast, and we were talking about this with Megan Thee Stallion, even though she did put out a pretty good effort. I like that. But you could tell when things happen fast because she also put out Good News, which missed the mark. When things happen really fast, you lose that focus from music, and you're doing everything else, and people are pulling you in all these other directions. And the music, which is what got you here, is secondary. I know Michael Jordan was talking about on Last Dance, once again, I know I quote this Last Dance all the time, but he was talking about, with the shoe empire and all that, he knew that his job was to play basketball. He had to focus on that, because without that, the shoes mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? Basketball is number one. You work on that craft and all the other stuff will come. I don't know if that works the same way in the music industry, because a lot of the time the music industry is about everything else other than the music. But that's the kind of stuff that makes you fall off. And I will give Jay-Z that. We were just talking about Volume 3. Jay-Z made sure he did what he needed to do musically, no matter how big he got in his prime. It's like, I'm going to need a record that's going to hit here. I'm going to need a record that's going to hit here. I know I'm Jay. I know I'm already a star, whatever, but I still need to make Big Pimpin'. I still need to make Give It To Me. I still need to be able to make, an album that's critically acclaimed like The Blueprint. I still need to be able to make Excuse
I get what
Me
you're
Miss,
saying. No, that's an art too. That's an art form too. That is part of this craft. If you're going to be an artist of that type of high level stature, is knowing who your audience is. It's like, I'll tell you what, and we've talked about him a lot. One of the things that happened to Luda is that Luda tried to change the type of hit that he gave you, and people didn't want that from him. Yep. He was the same hit maker. He was just trying to make a different style of hit because he had grown up. Like, he was getting married, getting into real estate, investing, helping the community, having kids and stuff. It's like, well, that guy that made Move Bitch isn't there anymore. You feel me?
Right.
That guy's moved bitch up into the suburbs and bought some land.
To be fair, it's very difficult to sustain a Move Bitch type of, catalog.
But that's what I'm saying. And so when you grow up, like when you really, really grow up in hip hop, I think a lot of people forget is that most artists' peak career is over before we get to see them really grow up. Like Mike, right. Tribe was done before they were 30.
Crazy to even think.
Crazy. That. Think about that. Tribe was actually breaking up as they were getting into their 30s. I mean,
Cass was done at 27, if that. Yeah.
Think about who you were 10 years ago at 30.
Yeah. Life is just beginning, really, in some aspects.
Right. And so you miss stuff from these guys. And what I'm saying is that Lil Baby, I'm just not seeing the growth that I'd like to see. It's like he's not a young artist or up-and-coming artist anymore. It's like, no, you're here. It's about production. Your last album was good. It wasn't great. It was good. I told you, Mike, he is somebody that I thought could potentially have the keys to the kingdom of hip-hop and the city, but the music has to be there for that.
But it sounds like they're trying to give him that. But again, like you said, the music's not following along with that.
He's even saying, it's like, he even says on the record, I'm concerned about the money, not the fame part of it. And it's like, well, they sure have thrown you out up on Front Street enough for you not to be concerned about the fame part of it, because you sure up in here with Stacey Abrams and Kamala. It looks like you're very much concerned with the fame part of it, even though your music's saying differently. But here's what I'm really saying. The lack of quality is showing that you're concerned with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Quality's just not there, Mike. I was thinking about all the Savage's guest appearances since My Turn. And it's like, I haven't had a reason to tell you that Lil Baby is better than Savage, and I can't definitely after this record. I'm thinking about, I was playing Savage's the joint with him and Gunna on DS Forever, the old Ice Cream Man shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit hard.
And the joint that he got with JID now, you know.
Both of those joints are blowing this shit out the water.
Yeah. Not to mention Savage Mode too.
Let's not even talk about Running, Mike. That's what I'm saying. It's just like no, Running might have been the best rap song released in the South that year.
Becca Jones with the super chat says, do you guys think that the buzz for KD3 is still a thing? Of course it is. And if it's not, that's fine, you know, because it's coming anyway. Mad Max with the super chat says, Lil Baby career is in the balance of his next album. A dud, he's gonna fizzle out. And he sounds like he's already been pimped out. That's interesting, man. I think that what we will say in this generation, I think it's a lot more difficult to come back from a dud. It really is. Like back in the day, you used to be able to just come right back as a comeback album. Like, I don't think that there's a such thing as a comeback album anymore.
I don't know. I think Kendrick could show us. Because here's what I'm saying. Even what's going on with Kendrick right now, do you understand that how about this? If all Kendrick had was Damn right now, and he didn't have To Pimp a Butterfly and Good Kid, Mad City like before Damn, we'd be saying it's over for him.
He'd be getting killed right now, yeah.
Right, he'd be getting killed going right now.
Yeah. DeCarlo says 21 Savage makes better hits than Lil Baby. Honestly, Lil Baby has saturated the industry with his mediocre songs. He also says 21 Savage makes better. Okay, double chat that. Appreciate that. Let's see. I saw another super chat. I believe there's a lot to say about this. Mad Max says, hold on, Coop. My term for the kids 24 and under is a classic. You can't just say his album was just good. Okay, my
it's a really good album. Hold on. So here's what I'm saying. So My Turn came out in January of 2020, right? Like, I think it was in our top 15 albums of the year. But here's what I mean. Go listen to My Turn and go listen to Pray for Paris or Alfredo or King's Disease 1 that came out literally the same year and tell me how great that album is again.
But
why ain't nobody talking about?
But he said the 24 and under crowd. You would have to ask them what they think about that.
See, this is what I'm saying. The 24 and under crowd are the same people that like made Illmatic a classic and made Ready to Die. No, I ain't heard nobody. We're in Atlanta. Ain't nobody 24 and under been walking around saying My Turn is a classic. Nobody. Nobody. We down here.
I haven't
That's
heard.
Not true. Mike, name one person under 30.
You know what? I'm gonna be fair. I'm gonna be fair to Mad Max. I haven't asked. I'll ask.
I'll be outside.
I got some young cats.
Know My Turn a classic.
I got some young cats to be DJing.
Maybe on the west side, you know what I'm saying?
I got some young cats to be DJing, to be at the studio and all that. I'll ask them.
Right. I bet you everybody on the east side right now saying JID album a classic. You feel me?
Possibly.
Right. Everybody on Gresham and Candler and Memorial right now, that JID a classic. I don't even want to pull up on the east side right now.
Well, for the 24 and under crowd here in this chat, is it a classic? Let us know.
And if it was a classic for the 24 and under crowd, y'all 27 now. What up with now?
Well, let me ask you this, man. Speaking of, I guess kind of switching gears a little bit. What did you think of that Cool G Rap and Big Daddy Kane song?
I don't know how to feel about that record.
They sound great.
Yeah. But because it's them, it's almost like you're expecting more lyrical miracle than you get. What you get is
what
some
are
really
the
good
expectations of Cool G Rap and Big Daddy Kane collaborating in 2022?
That's what I'm saying. That's why this Nas Magic thing has me all messed up now. Because now everybody who's been great, that has that great lyrical record name, I'm like, you can do it. I know you can do it. Because you're Cool G Rap and Kane. And that's not to say that the record's not dope, because the record's dope.
The biggest thing, man, is the voice. And when their voices are there, you feel like anything's possible.
Right. And they're there. No, they're in pocket. Their rhyme scheme is there. They've updated their formula. Even I like how they put it together, you know what I mean? Because G-Rap's on his Corona Queen shit. And and I like how Kane referenced Big and Jay and himself about Brooklyn in terms of you know where you at. You from Brooklyn, like this where Big from, this where Jay from, this where I'm from.
And
like
all those guys come from under him.
It's like to kind of remind you is it's like no. These niggas exist because I existed, and that was nice.
Does it get some sort of Song of the Year consideration? Because I was going to talk to you about Song of the Year as well.
Okay, so here's what I'm saying. Do you think the bar work is better than Cole and Benny's work on Johnny P's Caddy? Just straight up being honest?
No.
Aquamarine?
No.
So it can be a contender because I feel what you're saying. It's a G. How about this? I think Kool G Rap has dropped 2 songs that are like block burners this year. That's Diesel with Alchemist and this one. And so both of those would hover around because I still play Diesel. That's the shit too.
Mm-hmm.
So it would hover around that Song of the Year contention. But right now in my mind, I'm thinking Johnny P's Caddy and Aquamarine. And I felt like there was a song, and Strong Friend from Earth Gang.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. You know, it's funny you mentioned Earth Gang.
Strong Friend's a strong-ass record, Mike. It's very... How about this?
It is.
Because Kanye did what he did with Jesus Walks, all types of records like that exist now. And when they get executed wonderfully, Strong Friends is one of the better executed records in that vein. You know what I mean? Think about how many dope mental health awareness records do we have?
No, you're right. Earth Gang did their thing, man. I think that you're right. JID's performance as a lyricist on his album, The Forever Story, is impressive. But as an album, song for song, flow, Earth Gang is still in front when it comes to that. And I'm thinking, man, I might have Earth Gang top 3. I know you said you were on Hip Hop DX. You said that they have Cheat Code rated the highest as a hip hop album this year.
Mm-hmm. They gave it a 4.6. That was their highest rating this year.
I'm okay with the 3 best albums that I've heard this year in this order. I'm gonna go No Fear of Time. I'm going Earth Gang. I'm going Cheat Code.
I'm cool with you on that. The Che Noir is the one that I would want to listen to again to probably throw up in that mix. But it's like I told you,
4 there.
Yeah, but it's right there. The Ransom. How about this? Ransom and JID are like on the back end of like the album of the year stuff. I'm with you on No Fear of Time, Cheat Codes, the Che, and Ghetto Gods.
Ghetto Gods. Yes.
Yeah. No, Ghetto Gods.
Ghetto Gods is special. And
it's holding up well.
Yeah, it is holding up well. It should be talked about more. It actually took us a minute to get to it too. You know, my guy is a DJ. You know, shout out to him, Paperboy. He put me onto it. He was like, man, y'all got to talk about Ghetto Guys. Got to talk about Ghetto Guys. And I was like, all right, I'm going to listen to Ghetto Guys.
Can I talk 4s on the back end of that conversation? It's Almost Dry still has so many highlights on it, Mike. Diet Coke still isn't there.
It's Almost Dry frustrates me in a sense where
it does. It should be so much better.
It's been continuously said, album of the year, album of the year, album of the year. And I think that it, once again, similar to the JID, it has some missteps that I feel like just some simple rearranging could make the album better. And it's not on the level of Ghetto Guys.
It's not.
Even though it could be. It could be, and that's the messed up part.
The highlights, Mike, so just Brambleton, Let the Smoker Shine the Coupe, Diet Coke, Neck and Wrist, and The Joint with No Malice. Like, as far as 5 records go, I don't think you may find a album this year that has 5 better records than those 5 records.
This is what I will say about It's Almost Dry. If we're doing the top 20 songs, it might have more in there than the other efforts.
Yeah, because I think Thought would only have 2. I think Earth Gang might have 1. I don't even know if Che or Ransom would necessarily have a top 20 song per se. I would think Black Star with Yonders. And maybe another joint on there would probably crack it. So yeah, as far as like I told you, It's Almost Dry is very like a Hitler wears Hermes 8, like in the sense that it's like, oh well, the fly shit is the flyest shit that you'll find. It's just inconsistent.
If somebody said Diet Coke was song of the year, I wouldn't be mad at that.
I would.
I
That
mean,
means
when Diet Coke
no, you
dropped,
can't. See, this
everybody
is
was
what I'm
rhyming
saying.
over
Is
it.
like we can't. I don't know. It's like I can't listen to something like Aquamarine and hand it over to Diet Coke, no matter how much I love Push.
No, I understand what you're saying. Aquamarine's the better song, but when Diet Coke dropped, everybody was rhyming over that beat. Inspector said Savage has a top 30 voice all time. Wow.
He's got a great voice. No, that's one of the things that I noticed from Lil Baby still doing all the auto tune. It's like, man, Savage never had to do any of this and always comes through clear.
I don't
He
like
needs to
all
switch
that
up his
auto
flow.
tune. I don't like all that auto tune. I don't. And
I can't front, Mike. I thought that he would kind of grow out of that phase too. I don't like that he's still using it either, because this is what I mean about there's no growth. It's like, no, you literally sound like the same guy 2.5 years ago from January 2020. Like, why do you sound
clarify
like
myself.
No, how about this? If we're gonna be hard on Kendrick for being gone for 5 years, Lil Baby doesn't have Kendrick's repertoire on any sort of level, and has actually been gone 2.5 years. He's been gone 2.5 years since he's released the album. Like, he released an album in January of 2020. It's September of 2022, and we're just getting the singles.
Mm-hmm.
So it might be a full 3 years before we even get an album.
I want to clarify myself when I just said about the auto-tune. I don't like people leaning on the auto-tune. Like, I think when you use it properly, or like Future's been able to do over his career, cool. But this song sounded like he was leaning on auto-tune. Like you said, like, you don't need all that. You shouldn't.
Right.
36 Chambers says JID's album may define the sound of what modern lyrical hip-hop is going to become in the next few years. I could see that.
See that?
I think that, we're gone away from the days, of lyricists being on the boom bap stuff from a mainstream, level. Mad Max says Ransom's album and JID's album are better than those. I like Ransom's album a lot. And I have Ransom as a lyricist of the year candidate too. But can you honestly say Ransom's album is better than Lupe's album, Drill Music and Zion?
I was actually saying that we just leaving Lupe's album out too. Lupe's
I don't think
it's
better than Drill Music and Zion. Not to me.
It's not. I'm
Mad
sorry,
Max
because
says,
here's the thing.
I don't know. I don't like
it.
ghetto gods like that. That's what Mad Max says. He don't like ghetto gods like that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's tripping. That would be more in his age bracket too, to be honest with you. Or somewhere in between he and us and him in terms of, like, stylistically, where it would probably fall somewhere in the middle. When Lupe makes music that is aesthetically pleasing, as in when he's not crafting it for it to be too crafty for you, it's going to register more than a Ransom album. He's a better MC. He's a better songwriter. He's better lyrically. He's better vocally. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he's going to win that fight. You know what I mean? And so it's no disrespect to Ransom. It's just like, well, if Lupe is going to deliver a palatable album, it's probably going to be an album of the year contender, which this one is. To be honest with you, I'm really more interested to hear what his following project would be if he's in a mode of making music in this manner right now. I think it'd be the best way to frame that.
I want to speak to why maybe the Earth Gang Ghetto Gods album is not connecting. Do you think that, or not connecting with some, let me say it like that. Do you think that their image and their, I guess, presentation per se is off-putting to certain hip-hop fans? Is it the dialect? Is it the approach?
Elaborate. Dialect,
all right, this is what I'm going to say.
You're not saying anything about their physical appearance, are you?
No, I'm just talking about how they, dress and, come across to some who might not just take the music
How are they coming
first.
across? That's what I'm asking you. That's a better
It's
question.
weirdos. Let me say it like this.
Is that how they come off? Is that how they're coming off? I wouldn't know.
This is what I was going to say. Let's just close our eyes and imagine that Andre steps out in blonde wigs for the first album. I mean, how... You think people are giving the music the same chance that they would if they knew that this is the guy in the Braves jersey in Southern Playlistic?
No. 3 Stacks did that. So hopefully you don't have to go through that. No?
I still think that it helps for any artist to be relatable from a visual standpoint, right?
Well, they're not. Well, they're not getting good advice from their mentor now, are they?
Yeah, I guess not. I mean, but it's cool to dare to be different and you want to be yourself and you want to look like the music. I know that was one of the big things that Dre said
I
that
mean,
really
I get
connected to
that, but
me.
here's what I'm saying is that it's easier for J. Cole, who's worth like $100 million, to pull off that look because it's like, well, people know he has like $100 million, but nobody knows who you are and you're trying to pull off that look. It's different. And I hate to say it, it's almost like it's not acceptable to be bummy when you don't have money. It is when you do, though.
Well, the thing is, with J. Cole, even when he came in the game and introduced himself to everybody, he looked like the average guy. He looked regular. He didn't have like the long flowing dreads, whatever. He had a, you know what I'm saying,
Hey, Mike, can I
Caesar
tell you
cut.
something? When he came out, he dressed exactly the way guys from North Carolina dressed at that time.
Yeah.
I know that for
I
a
mean, the
fact.
same thing with
the-
Dre with 3000. When he came out, he dressed just like everybody in Atlanta did.
Yeah, he was in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Was he in
And
Atlanta?
once you got your fans
Right.
grow with you. But when you just come in the door, and I'm going to say this, I was kind of off put by Black Eyed Peas back in the day because they presented themselves so weird to me. I didn't connect with them.
And it hurt them. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is hip-hop.
And it wasn't like they was whack. When I heard that's the joint, that's the jam, it was like, song ain't whack, but I don't really rock with these guys. They look like weirdos to me.
You better get some black Air Force Ones and a gold chain and not get robbed in this motherfucker.
So
Take your
yeah,
ass
I mean,
outside.
I think the presentation may be why they're not connecting. Because other than that, I don't get it because the music is there.
Music's there.
Yeah.
But this is what I mean. Okay, so I'm not joking when I say this. It's like, no, they need a real A&R. That's why I told you, Mike, before. I mean, I just kind of like said it last week because it's true. No, I was actively trying to get A&R jobs before I came to you to work for According to Hip Hop. And they were pretty much like, what?
A&R
I was like,
don't exist
somebody
now.
to help develop your artist. You like make the artists who they're supposed to be, like in front of the camera and also behind the scenes, no, you don't know it. Right. This 2013, 2014, they're like, huh? What? I mean, this stuff down here, like, what? What's an A&R? But this is what I'm talking about. How about this? JID's album and Earth Gang's look wouldn't happen if they had an A&R like me in the building. You feel what I'm saying? We be
Right.
killing both of those things right now.
Yeah. Rapster with the super chat says, have y'all heard Mayhem Lauren and Derringer's new project, Black Vladimir? It's pretty solid. Each track is a banger. I gotta check that out.
Who?
Let's see. My bad. It is Derringer and Mayhem Lauren.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's see. I think it was another
And,
song.
and here's what I mean with that too, Mike. Like, let's go back to the brighter side of him and what he does. Oh, well, Jodeci and Mary J. Blige had talent, but somebody gave them a look that helped sell that talent.
Biggie
I
had
stayed
talent.
Coogee down to the socks. The Coogee, the Versace, they gave him a look. I did not know who the fuck Versace or Coogee were until Biggie. I'm not even about to act like I did.
I think the A&R job, I think the overall A&R job that Puffy did on Biggie might be the most amazing A&R job in modern history.
No, Puffy is the best A&R ever. If you want to talk about what he's the greatest of all time at, that's the greatest A&R ever.
Yeah.
Jodeci, Mary J. Blige, Biggie Smalls directed the Players Ball video for Outkast.
Yeah.
Hold on, Craig Mack too, Mike. Craig Mack going gold. Flavor in Your Ear going platinum. He's the greatest A&R of all time.
Mace, because Mace didn't rap like that before.
Mace did not rap like that. He was Murder Mace. He made Children of the Corn.
He made Mace a superstar. Got to give him that.
Big star, triple platinum. Mm-hmm. Murder Mace wasn't going to go gold. He was barely going to go aluminum. All right, you hear me?
Listen, as crazy as it sounds to most people, Raw Biggie is going gold. You know what I'm saying? The Puffy Biggie, or whatever they took from the Juicy, wherever that came from, or him getting on Big Papa. All right, listen to Dolly Baby by
Dolly My Baby, Super Cat.
Tell me that same guy is gonna be a platinum artist.
Hold on. Think about this. Nas was becoming a whole sex symbol to women, and Illmatic didn't go gold. Don't tell me this nigga's going gold without Big Papa and One More Chance and Juicy. No, like no.
Oh no. Even the decision to actually create the One More Chance remix, because most labels would have been good off of what they had on Ready to Die. The fact that he went and actually made the One More Chance remix, I remember Puff saying in a recent interview where he was saying that's when Big hit stride on that One More Chance remix. I never heard Puff say that, but I always thought that. Like the Big that we know now, that was the One More Chance remix Big. And that was clearly a year or so after the album was created.
Right, that's that Junior Mafia Get Money remix time, Mike. That's that same time. That's the following summer.
Yeah.
The Get Money remix was right before
That's
One More
95.
Chance. Frank White, the Desperado, used to rock the all black Movado, the all black Elder. I told you, I was like, that nigga different. I was like, who's that guy? That's not the guy on Ready to Die. The guy on the Get Money remix and on the One More Chance remix, that's not the guy on Ready to Die. It's not the same guy.
I'm the rapper with clout everybody yap about. Check it out.
Check
Guns are busting.
Problems with my wife. Don't discuss them. Hoops and lyrics. Mike, nobody had ever bobbed and weaved like that really before.
Man. Mad Max of the Super Chat says, Ransom's album is better than Lupe's. No disrespect. Lupe's album was boring vocally, and Ransom's album was better produced. And lyrics are on par.
It's better produced, yeah. I'll give it better production.
I like the production on Drill Music in Zion.
I like it. I don't love it. I think the Ransom album is slightly better produced.
I think the highlights, maybe from end to end, but the highlights on Drill Music in Zion, I love the horns and the jazzy choices that he took. Jay Short says, have you guys talked about Big Pooh? With this album, I'm asking, is he the Big Pooh and little brother? And the other guy is showing up. I listened to the album, and it was solid. I mean, it was a good album.
It was just a good album. It wasn't enough to do a show about or to give like an official rating to.
I was kind of bored. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm just saying.
I wasn't gonna say bored. It was just solid.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good album.
Hold on. First of all, a couple things. First of all, I know Coogee and Versace existed before Biggie, but unfortunately for me, when Big Papa came out, I had I think I had the luxury of being in 8th grade when Ready to Die came out. Like, oh my God. It's like, no, I didn't know what Versace and Coogee was in 8th grade, living on the west side of Charlotte on my grandfather's land that my mother and my aunts used to live in an outhouse out of literally like 25, 30 years before. No, the fuck, we didn't know what Coogee and Versace was.
LP with the super chat says, party and bullshit, Biggie doesn't sell without Puff. That's just the God honest truth.
That's the truth.
I mean, he's a dope rapper.
Mike, Who Shot You is not going to sell any records, and neither is
Who
Machine
Shots
Gun.
is not going to even be made without Puffy in the picture.
This is very true. Machine Gun Funk's not going to go platinum.
No. Yeah, those are the records you get if Puffy's not in the picture.
Suicidal Thoughts is not going platinum.
You're going to get, and I like Warning. I love Warning, but those are the records you're going to get if Puffy's not in the picture.
Everyday Struggle should go platinum. It's not going platinum.
Yeah, most definitely.
It's not. The World Is Yours and It Ain't Hard to Tell couldn't go gold, Mike. One Love, think about it. The singles to Illmatic, in this order, it ain't hard to tell. The World Is Yours and One Love, and it couldn't go gold. What do you want quintessential East Coast hip hop to sound like? I'm sorry. What you want to sound like to go gold, go platinum, without having to do it up. So Big seen it. That's part of why Big doubled down. He seen what happened to Nas. That's why he bought in with what was happening with Puff. Because he's like, this nigga Nas ain't moving no records. This is some of the best shit I ever heard. It's like, play that Diana Ross shit again, Puff.
Yeah. Jay Short says, if JD was Puffy, the Brat would be top 10 minimum. Strong statement. I think one of the issues when it comes to the Brat and Funkdafied, as successful as it was, I think that it kind of ripped off of G-Funk a little bit too much to the point where it put the Brat in a position where she wasn't able to grow from there. We never really understood or knew what the Brat's actual sound was. So and I remember JD saying he struggled to find her sound too.
I thought her sound as an artist, in terms of like crafting it out, should have been that Made a Funk Be With You. Remember that record? Mm-hmm. And Give It To You? That's how her sound should have sounded. Give It To You and Made a Funk Be With You. Those were the sounds on that album. I'm like, she needs to keep doing that because that's her sound. She's finding her sound within JD, having her use other people's sounds. Because all Funkdafied is like a Ready to Die Doggy Style clone. It's like pieces of Ready to Die in Doggy Style.
It is. And when you say Give It To You, you're talking about the remix, right?
Yes.
That's the one, yeah. Yes. That record right there, that's the sound.
That's the sound.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. May the Funk Be With You like had that original sound on the album. It just wasn't as catchy. But when she was in that groove and that melody, I'm like, that's where her future is, making those types of records. And so she came back with that super sped up Chi-Town flow. You know what I'm saying? Which didn't play to her advantage because she didn't use it the first time around really like that.
Exactly. It wasn't bad. It was just unidentifiable to people. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, well, I didn't expect that.
Well, she was using that flow and niggas didn't even know Twister like that. You know what I'm saying?
True.
And they didn't even know that was the Chi sound. She was actually trying to get back more into her roots with that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how they rhyme in the Chi. Listen to Kendrick. His family's from the Chi. Listen to Twister. Even listen to early Common. You know how early Common rap, Mike?
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody's asking about the Cannibal Ox. I listened to it. Great album. I don't know if we can just totally talk about it, but yeah.
I feel like that about the way I feel about the Pooh album. It's like both of these were solid projects, but this is what I'm saying is like for y'all that have been telling us to listen to the Pooh and listen to the Cannibal Ox. I say this respectfully. Like, that's y'all shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got my shit like that too. You feel what I'm saying? But it's like, it's probably not going like make. Like, it's not at that level. It's not like that. It's not.
I mean, this is the thing. It's
no,
hard.
You just need
it's
to be
hard
honest.
to
It's
do
not like that. It's a solid project. It's a solid.
It's hard to do a whole segment on it.
That's why the projects are just solid. If we can't get a whole segment out of it, like in a discourse about it, because here's the thing about it, and I hate to say it, to even this degree of doing this show, well, the brand and the name does matters. It's like, no, for us to pull up and talk about Cannibal Ox's project for about 20, 30 minutes or Pooh's project, no, that shit need to be stellar, not just good.
Well, Cold Vein's a dope album. It's the fact it's just 21 years old. Came out in 2001. I mean, we could do a throwback show and probably do it on our Patreon or whatever and, go through it and play it. I think that'd be dope. But Reggie says, that JD track with the Brat and Crazy Bone goes. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, Let's All Get High. That's the best record on there, too.
It is, by far.
By far.
By far. LP with the super chat says, pro-black East Coast rap never sold. PE only, and they had more of a universal sound that appealed to white people. East Coast boom bap never sold. Yeah, PE was like a rock
Public
band.
Enemy wasn't going like platinum either. They weren't like going like multi-platinum and stuff. No, they weren't. Because NWA was doing that.
Mm-hmm. Well,
NWA was selling records with the gangster rap.
Well, NWA's in Cali too, but I think as far as like the reach, and I think PE was just touring a lot, going overseas. I guess before we get up out of here, man, we saw this Disco King Mario documentary, man. Like, there's a great documentary on YouTube. I think who did it? It was Beyond Above Media. It's on Disco King Mario, who was the guy that basically connected Bam with, I want to say he connected Bam with, was it Hurt? No, he connected Bam with Jazzy J, I believe. But anyway, he's kind of the bridge between Bam and, Hurt basically doing the park jams. Had that 21 Days of Summer park jam. And he never gets mentioned.
Hold on one second. What year was the 21 Days of Summer? Do you remember?
I think that was 72, 71, something like that.
71, I think. 71 or 72.
Something like that. So, but yeah, he never gets mentioned. And I thought it was a really interesting documentary. What did you take from the documentary?
A lot. I don't even know where to start. So can I just...
Busy Bee was his MC. I mean, I guess maybe we can start there, I don't know.
No, I mean, I'm sorry. Like, I'm a North Carolina native. I want to start from the fact that this guy's from North Carolina.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to be very honest and very blatant with what I'm saying. These other guys who are involved as being the creators of hip-hop, they're either all really from New York or their family moved to New York from the islands. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so I find it very telling that the one person who really wasn't from New York is the guy who they conveniently forget to mention who was there before all of them. And I have a big, big problem with that. That is the definition of some crabs in a barrel ass shit to do. Because this guy, by all estimations, because here's what I would say, his name is Disco King, right?
Disco King Mario, yeah.
But what I would submit to you, Mike, is that if you really want, and this just based on looking at this, those 21 days of summer is when hip hop started.
Exactly. That's what I took from it too.
That was my main takeaway from it. Those 21 days of summer is when shit changed.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the person responsible for it and nobody else.
He put in the work. We never heard about this 21 days of summer.
And the fact, and I want to say this, and the fact that these guys have lamented how they don't get the credit that they deserve over all these years, all three of these guys, my respect for them is so small right now for not saying this man's name. I don't feel bad for them. I don't feel sorry for them. And I mean, in the place of Africa, I mean, like, and specifically when it comes to Bambaataa, it's like, oh, well, that's all I need to do to go ahead and close that book. I'm not calling you the author of anything for a multitude of reasons now. Like, I can't find anything about you glowing to say, because it appears like everything that you did on every level around that time is wrong, because he appears to be the person that gets the most credit. And so that makes him the main perpetuator. He is also the person that benefited the most. He is also the one that has something to do with the separation, because the thing with Jazzy J is pretty much where the separation happens, correct?
Correct. The one thing I will say about Bam in this situation, it sounds like, because Bam used to carry Disco King Mario's records. They did say in this documentary that Bam was the one that just had a plethora of records, and he was the one that kind of spanned the other genres and brought other genres into that Park Jam setting. So that's always kind of been Bam's claim to fame, the fact that he was just very eclectic with his Park Jams and his mixes. So he did bring that to the table. But
he wasn't first.
No, wasn't the first. And I don't understand how a person who's that pivotal, who showed everybody love, sounds like, just gets leapfrogged over. It feels like, the fact that he is from Carolina and moved to Bronxdale from North Carolina is not a true blue New Yorker or somebody from the islands. Sounds like that was kind of held against him.
Yes, so they cut him out on some crabs in a bucket type shit.
That's disappointing, and it's disappointing at age 40 and following hip hop all my life and hearing all of these hip hop stories and being a self-proclaimed hip hop historian, looking at all these documentaries, that I'm just now hearing these stories. I feel like the people hurt, specifically Bam and Flash, should have been held this man's name high. And I get it. He passed away in, I think I want to say 94. He's not really here to tell his story, but it's not on him or the people that were in his neighborhood to tell his story. Shout out to Busy B. This is what I mean
about the crabs in a barrel mentality.
Shout out to Busy B, though.
Concerned with all this time? See, they're the guys that really watched all the other guys make money, okay?
Yeah.
And all they've been really trying to do, like, they've been more concerned with making their money than being cultural preservers.
Yeah,
I want that to be very, very clear.
Well, that's the thing too, Cope. I
don't want to assassinate the whole Zulu Nation, but even from watching this documentary, it appears Mario was the one with the real street cred to make this shit happen before all these dudes had the street cred to make it happen. And hip hop is what, Mike, born where?
In the streets.
Who had the street cred and was enforcing and really making all this shit happen. See, that's why Bambaataa's like, I got the records. It's like, that's great. But because remember when they're breaking it down, it's like, well, Mario was able to make this shit happen because he had the street cred. You couldn't just pull up on Mario and jack his shit.
And take his shit, yeah, because that was a thing.
Was a thing. Yeah. And so what I'm trying to say is the robbing culture was actually keeping somebody from being the guy. He appears to be the first guy with enough street credibility to keep on doing it over and over again, and nobody's touching him.
Yeah.
That is the essence of street cred. What is hip hop about, and where is hip hop from?
In the streets.
So
and that's why he was able to do.
So all these dudes is getting their street cred and getting the cosign to make this stuff happen based on the video from where? Who's okaying this stuff?
No, you're right.
That's the streets. That's hip hop. That's what I'm saying. Between the 21 days of summer and the actual street cred, that would make him the founder of hip hop. Hip hop's born in the streets, at the park jams. This is the organizer of the park jams with the street cred.
The only
Bam's
thing he
just
did,
a nigga with records. Bam's just a nigga with records. That's like being a dude that can rock the microphone. It's like you weren't the guy back then. They tried to make their role into the guy. This was the guy.
Yeah. Reggie with the super chat says, I know we're behind on these, so it might be some off-topic stuff. He says, track I was referring to was Don't Hate on Me. Let me get to the other super chats because this is a great conversation. Our man says, Coop, respectfully, you're out of line with the Cannibal Ox statement. Cold Vein is a stellar album. It was one of the best underground albums of the 2000s. Yes.
Just
dope
good.
album. Dope album.
Just good.
Hold on, I think, did I get to all of them? I feel like I might have skipped something. No, that
If you did,
goes
they'll let
boom,
you know.
boom, boom. Let me see. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second.
Bam was a street legend? Not the way we thought, though, now was it?
I mean, he is a street legend, but again, what does that make Disco King Mario?
That's what I'm saying. The way the story goes, Mike, he piggybacked off this guy, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like the tension between the two projects and the rival projects, he wasn't the one to ease the tension. That was Mario that made that happen. So when it became open, it appears that was because of Mario's street cred, unless the story's getting told wrong to us.
Again,
The
shout
story
out to
doesn't go,
Busy B.
Bam is the one that put it together. The story goes, Mario's the one that put it together.
Shout out
So
to
who
Busy
had the
B.
street cred?
But shout out to Busy B for being on this documentary. It's some very
One of
credible.
them fucking little boys, Mike. We just gonna go ahead and throw that out there too. One of them was actually using it for the good of hip hop and wasn't sitting up there using it to sit up there and play R. Kelly before R. Kelly up in this motherfucker. But whatever.
Well, it's again, to me, it's just I don't understand how a person that pivotal, not only just in the culture but in individuals' lives, just doesn't get mentioned. I think when it gets problematic is the fact that a lot of their how they make money and how they tour depends on or predicates largely on their legacy and the things that they cemented. And it seems like a person was cut out of that so that they could be held as these ambassadors. Like even when they did the what was that magazine cover where it's Bam, Flash, and Hurt? That was that The Source? Okay, I don't know what year.
It was the perfect time to speak on it.
It was perfect time to speak on it. I'm not sure if he was still alive then, but if not, that was the perfect time to give the proper credit where credit is due. Like, why are we doing that to ourselves? You know what I'm saying? Like, why?
I'm sorry, I'm not, and this is what I mean. If this is hip hop, I'm giving the dude with the street cred the credit over the guy that was using his street cred to fuck little boys.
Well,
I'm gonna start calling spade a spade.
We're on YouTube. We're not gonna go there.
But look at what a guy is doing with his credibility.
I understand what you're saying. I feel
that
you.
means he doesn't have credible.
Cool. I feel you. But
no, listen.
That's
what you do with your street credibility. What type of credible, tangible values do you really have as a man?
I feel you, man, but we're on YouTube, man. We can do that
that
on
is
like
right.
the
I'm sorry.
Patreon stuff, man. We can't say stuff like that.
Right.
but yeah, man.
Nasty bastard seems like you're ready.
But yeah, man. I mean, it's just it takes nothing to give people the proper credit where credit's due, and maybe somebody out there who is from those neighborhoods or from that time can maybe shed some light on that. Like, is it because Disco King Mario wasn't from New York? Because really, when I look at it, it feels like a lot of hip hop's influence early on, and I'm from Georgia, comes from Carolina. James Brown's from Carolina. Pigmeat Martin's from Carolina. Even Sha Rock, the first female MC in Funky 4+1, if I'm not mistaken, she's from North Carolina, moved up to New York. Same thing with Coke LaRock. Coke LaRock, who's known as the first MC, he's from North Carolina.
Mike, I know all these things about Disco Mario because my cousin M6, his name is Mario. He used to tell me, he was like, the nigga who really started hip hop, me and him got the same name, and he's from North Carolina. His name's Disco Mario. He's the real nigga that started all this shit. My cousin Mario, my producer, been telling me this shit my whole life. I just didn't have any. He's literally been telling me this since the early 2000s. Wow. Like off some word of mouth shit. It's just like, we ain't never watched no YouTube video. So when you sent this to me, I was like, well, damn, that's what Cuz used to talk about. Because his name was Mario.
That's unfortunate, man. It shouldn't happen like this. It shouldn't happen like this.
Well, here's the thing about it. we have to be honest about how we audit our own culture, because if we're not honest about how we audit our own culture, this is what opens up the floodgates for the Eminems to become problematic to people like a Mike D. You get what I'm saying? Because we're not auditing our own circumstances.
You're right.
Properly and appropriately. And part of auditing it properly and appropriately is not just, refraining from engaging in nefarious homosexual predatory behavior, but also just giving people their credit.
Yeah, just flat out. And, I've been kind of going back and forth on these threads with, people from New York, because I'm not from New York. And they're like, I never heard of these people, yada, yada. And it's like, well, that's a shame. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it really is. Like, what's the problem? Like, just be honest and do the research and tell the truth. Because listen, if somebody came to me and was like, yo, Atlanta got crunk from Memphis, I'd be like, yes, we did. And we took bass from Miami.
Right.
That happened. It happened. Yes. I'm not going to sit here and
stole 808s from Miami. Straight up. Everything down here was booty shake when we were kids.
Yeah. And if somebody were to say, you know what, Outkast on Southern Playalistic, they were kind of running with a hieroglyphics type of flow and some G-Funk, yeah, that happened. Everybody pulls from everything, and I think when it comes to this subject specifically, they want to act like no influences came from anywhere else, and that's not true.
No. Well, here's what I mean, and I mean, I'm going to say this carefully because it's not a New York thing. This is a territorial thing. If this guy, Disco King Mario, if Disco King Mario was the one who, think about it, had people galvanized with the parties and with the street cred, and cats knew that he wasn't from New York, do you think that they liked that? Or do you think that they envied that and wanted to build their teams up to beat this out-of-towner? Because that's what the fuck the Zulu Nation is to me now. You feel me? The Zulu Nation was literally built to beat this guy. Because he's the one with the cred. That's how it goes. They trying to get their crew and they wait up to match this guy. That's where the Zulu Nation comes from. They needed a crew to fuck with, what's their names? The
Black Spades.
The Black Spades.
Well, I mean, Bam was in the Black Spades.
And hold on, and then that goes back to, what's the record by KRS-One?
What, Self-Destruction?
Jack of Spades, man.
Jack of Spades. LP with the super chat says,
KRS-One from?
The Bronx. And you know what? That's disappointing too. Because KRS is the teacher. I've never heard
and
KRS.
He knows this stuff, Mike. I thought about him today.
Stuff.
He knows.
I've never heard KRS speak on Disco King Mario. Now, I could be wrong. And somebody in the chat, let me know if I'm wrong. But KRS is the teacher from the Bronx and never speaks on Disco King Mario.
No, he's the one that I probably would indict the most because his nickname is the teacher. He is one of our most intelligent and articulate thinkers. He is one of our greatest MCs. This is a direct line to his neighborhood and to the people that brought him into the game with the Zulu Nation.
Yeah.
And so shame on him for claiming to be such a hip hop historian and not speaking on this. Like, he's not, like, he's bigger than Bambaataa.
Yeah.
He's bigger than Bam.
He does whole summits and everything and speaking engagements.
But hold on. But you see, speaking, and this is what I mean. Well, speaking on King Disco Mario, will that be going against the Zulu Nation at a time and a point? You feel what I'm saying? So there was probably times during, I guarantee you it's like Jack of Spades could have been like his homage song that he really couldn't pay homage to because of his Zulu Nation ties. That's what I thought of.
It shouldn't be like that. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be.
I mean, Mike.
I saw the documentary, yeah.
I know, Mike, you know neighborhoods like that in Atlanta, Mike. I know neighborhoods like that in Charlotte where it's like, no, you can't. No, it's the same. No, don't go. You can't go 15 minutes over.
It's literally rewriting history, though. You know what I'm saying? And history should be bigger than any of that stuff that's going on. LP with the super chat said, talk your ish, Coop. We got to keep it 1,000 out here. Jay Short super chat says,
is KRS-One from the Bronx? Does he have ties to the Zulu Nation? Does he call himself a teacher? Does he not say that he was one of those people that was there in the park jams when hip hop got started in the Bronx?
He should know about 21 Days of Summer.
Okay, then he know about the 21 Days of Summer. It falls right in his age bracket.
I don't see how anybody wouldn't know about the 21 Days of Summer.
Mm-hmm.
Jay
So
Shore with the super chat says Carolina and Memphis were black meccas in the 70s. Definitely. LP also says, Coop, YouTube should be showing you love for the algorithm for speaking the truth, not penalizing y'all. Context matters. Bam was a predator of little boys.
they taking 30% too. That's why we got the Patreon show on Monday.
Jay Short with the super chat says, some were Prince B from PM Dawn is looking down. Somewhere Prince D from PM Dawn is looking down saying, I told you so.
But hold on. But what I'm saying is there's so many people, when they talk about hip hop and the start of hip hop who are from the Bronx, talk about all these origins and all these stories, and it's funny how it all circles around New Yorkers, and this guy from Evanston, North Carolina, is being left out. Don't you think that that's a little problematic?
I think so too. And you know what? To kind of add further to that, when we talk about the creation of graffiti, it seems like Cornbread out of Philadelphia is always left out, and Cornbread was doing graffiti before anybody in 1965. He was even they even wrote about him in Philadelphia's newspaper for vandalism. So they were very well aware of the act of graffiti, excuse me. And it seems like this person doesn't get credit, possibly because he's not a New Yorker. I don't know. You know what I mean? But that's what it feels like.
Okay, so we're journalists. We do some investigative reporting from time to time. Can you see, here's the thing about investigative reporting. So you have to investigate, but you have to use your instincts and you have to use your common sense.
Right.
Mike, my common sense is telling me, well, there's no viable reason to leave his name out other than that unless you can give me one. You don't have one. Because here's the thing. If you have another one, here's what it's probably going to show. Jealousy, envy, and hate.
Yeah.
They're wrong for this.
It's sad, man. And, you know, again, and the fact that, like my guy always tells me, man, like, people didn't see YouTube coming. People didn't see the internet coming. They thought that they could cover up this stuff forever, and nobody would ever find out. And I'm so glad that we're able to talk to each other and, you know, research and, you know, basically create our own content where people can talk to each other without that mainstream buffer that we always had to, you know, go through. And they thought that this would never see the light of day. They thought this was just going to be like, you know, what your homeboy was telling you, just some word of mouth type shit.
Yeah, no, that was my cousin because his name is Mario.
Your cousin, I'm sorry. Yeah. You know, and man, peace to Disco King Mario, and I want to see some more documentaries while people are still alive and well to tell these stories.
I want to find some more stuff, but first it would be nice if guys like, I don't know, KRS-One, Fab Five Freddy. Don't nobody want to hear what Bam got to say.
But shout out to Busy B, though.
As a matter of fact, after this, it's just like everything Bam, Flash, and Herc said to me got like an asterisk by it. It's like, oh, well, I don't know if that really happened, if you was just trying to X another man out of history. I don't even know if that's your shit anymore.
Well, shout out to Jazzy J and Busy B and, you know, Grand Wizard Theodore. They were a part of the documentary. If you want to check out the documentary, it is on YouTube. It's, let's see, who did it? It was Beyond Above Media. So Disco King Mario, Beyond Above Media did it. Put that in the search. You'll be able to find it. It's like 30 minutes. But again, you could tell that they did this on an independent level and they really cared about doing it. You know what I'm saying? It was just put together.
I mean, this is, somebody just said this is New York slander. No, it's not New York slander.
Why you know, anytime when you actually do research.
Right. If this happened anywhere else, you wouldn't say that.
No, anytime that anyone does research and debunks what the traditional thinking or what we've always been told is, people want to say it's slander. It's none of that. It's just actually doing research. That's all that is. It's not slander. And how is it slander to anybody that... The slander is the fact that somebody created something. Here's the reality of the matter.
A man from North Carolina, it appears, invented hip-hop in the Bronx. It still happened in the Bronx. It just didn't happen via a New Yorker. Get over it.
And honestly, you know, it takes a collective. It's not no one person who created hip-hop per se. He had to have the people around to come to the park jams for it to be a thing. So New
He had
York
to
is
have the
involved in
street
that.
cred, Mike.
Yeah.
You had to have. He had to think about this. The way the documentary goes, it's like, oh well, he had the women and he had the street cred, and it's like, well, that's what makes him the first motherfucker. Because if he got the women, if he got the street cred, and he has the equipment, and he pulled up all summer one summer, that would make him the focal point.
He had the
Point
idea
blank.
for the
Because
21
everything that we talk
days of
about with
summer.
hip hop, like hip hop has always been about, well, the crowd. It's
Yeah.
been about getting the girl. It's been about machoism and being the man. It's been about street credibility. Well, this
did
is
all
pretty
those
much the
things.
guy who embodied all of that in the Bronx, and he had the equipment.
Yeah.
I think that's the end of the story. I mean, it's like, I don't want to tie it up like in a bow because he's from North Carolina, but it's like, you got something better than that?
I mean,
That
listen,
precedes
man.
Bombada and Herc and Flash.
As Shan said, man, hip hop started out in the park, you know, and he did that
Who's
21
the
days of
man?
summer.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If hip hop started out in the park and everybody goes back to these park jams,
Yeah.
who's the man?
Again,
Who's the man?
I think Bronxdale needs to get their proper credit in this situation too. And I obviously, you know, it's not even just a New York thing per se, but Flowers, he was doing this as a DJ and was a renowned DJ out there in New York before King Mario, from what I understand. But what King Mario did was brought it out to the park jams and really doubled down on the park jams, which created that whole wave. And he should get credit for that, you know?
Yeah. It's like, hold on. It's like, when you strike a match, hold on. When you strike
Thank you,
a match,
JC88. He says, I'm from NY and I don't think it's slander. Of course it's not slander. We're just trying to get to the truth, you know?
I mean, Mike, when you strike a match and it sets the whole house on fire, you know, you'd be like, man, how can that fire start from just a match?
Mm-hmm.
Because somebody lit it first.
Yeah.
That's how.
He lit the fire.
That's how fire starts.
Yeah.
Somebody has to strike the match and light it first. What happens once the that's up to, you know, that's up to God and the air and the powers that, you get what I'm saying? It's like, but it appears he's the first guy to really strike a match, and that match is the 21 Days of Summer, and it appears he had the ladies on lock, the streets on lock, and the command and the equipment to pull it off. It's just a happenstance that he's not from the Bronx. It still happened in the Bronx. Like, it's still going down that hip hop started in the Bronx. Like, I would still be more proud of that. Be like, no, hip hop still started in the Bronx. It just happened to be a guy from North Carolina. It appears to be the guy that lit the match.
And again, you know, it's like no one is minimizing anybody else's impact because it took a collective for this whole thing to take flight. All I'm saying is, throughout history, this man's name should have never been omitted. That's the problem.
Right. Okay, so let's say he's not the guy and he belongs right there next to these guys. Why is he not on the cover of the Source? Why are we just hearing this now? Why is Busy B literally on this documentary talking about how the other guys don't shout him out? And he literally said, Bam may have said something a time or two. A time or two, nigga, it's been 40 years. He might have said something a time or two. When? In 80? 83? Because not while I've been alive, Mike, and been able to hear it. I ain't never heard this guy come out of Bam's mouth.
I haven't either. I've listened to all the stories. I mean, I feel like I've seen most of the mainstream documentaries or most of the underground independent documentaries on hip hop. They all tell very similar stories, but his name never comes up. And,
no,
yeah,
it's Bam with the culture moment.
right.
It's Herc with the rec room, and it's Flash on the Wheels of Steel. That's how the story gets told, correct?
Correct. Well, I hear Graham Wizard Theodore created the scratches between him and Flash, and you know,
Flash was better.
Thing. Yeah.
I think that was the thing. It was around the same time, but Flash was better.
Yeah, and Flash had the tapes too.
See, that's what I'm saying. So here's the thing about it. There were probably guys that were better than Flash and better than Bam, but what did they have? They had the records.
Mm-hmm.
Just like there were probably guys that was doing the shit that Mario was doing. I mean, I hate to say it like this, Mike. It's like, well, you know, you got niggas on the corner that sell drugs, Mike, and then you got niggas that push weight. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That don't pull up on no fucking corner. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, no. There might have been other guys out doing there, but the way this story is looking, like you can even tell from how the women that are partaking in this are talking. It's like, no, he was that dude.
Yeah.
He was that dude, and you can tell.
Yeah. LP with the super chat says they don't show him love because he was a Bama to them.
See? And now we get into it. See, they in the back of their mind, they was all right. Who is this country ass nigga up here running shit?
Yeah.
Right.
Because they did
Right.
talk about his dialect too, the way he was like, how he
Yeah,
would say vicious.
The vicious.
Yeah.
Mike, that's
So so he didn't
that's
have the New York slang or any of that stuff.
right.
Yeah.
When they went vicious, I was like, I know all about that.
Yeah. Lex
That's
Diesel
Carolina.
with the super chat says, hold on. Let me get to this. Lex Diesel with the super chat says, the point y'all made about rappers' career being over before they truly grow up highlights even more how incredible Nas's current run is. How many other rappers have we seen evolve and stay relevant and still make good music too?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Tribe was born by the time they were 27, 28, 29 on beats, rhymes, and life. By the love movement, time the love movement happened, it was like, okay, it's like they're done. It's over. It's no more fun.
Man, that says according to history. Yeah, we gotta do some according to hip hop documentaries, man. We gotta do the according to films or whatnot. But yes, I mean, this stuff needs to be told and needs to be told correctly. I think it's a shame that we're still in. I mean, we're literally not. We're generations past, but these people are alive and well, and this story shouldn't be told so lopsided. It shouldn't be so like this is my parents' generation. Like my mom and dad could have easily grown up in these spots, and this shouldn't be so blurry to people that whole motherfuckers are being left out.
And I'm like about to say, that's how. It depends on how your generation falls. So when this stuff is going on, like when this stuff is going on between like let's say 71 to 81. My mom is 8, 9 years old in 71. You feel what I'm saying? My mom 8 in 71. You feel what I'm saying? So this ain't even a whole generation removed from me. It's like, no. My mom was a kid when this shit was going on.
In 71, my mom was 12. Yeah.
My mom was 7 going on 8. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, these people could easily be like our mothers or fathers.
These are the people that are our parents' age. That's what I'm saying.
This shouldn't be so lopsided. And in the 90s, oh my God, these people were like 30. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, what the fuck?
That's what I mean. That's what I mean is that, Mike, these guys, see, you have to understand that by the time these guys were getting to our age, hip-hop, it became a whole nother thing that they even planned on. This was a park thing.
Yeah.
They never thought it was going to turn into a multi-million-dollar industry. Imagine how they felt even seeing, like, when Cool G Rap and Rakim and Clik and those guys pulled up with all these chains and all this designer shit on and getting record deals. It's like Rakim got $1 million from 4th and Broadway. It's like they gave you what?
Right. Or even Run DMC.
These guys couldn't get $10,000. Rakim's out here getting $1 million within 10 years. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, no, don't tell me they didn't do something to them. And then the shit with Biggie and Jay and Nas and Pac and them niggas really started balling and making money.
Even
they
Run
was
DMC.
out there getting their money.
Even Run DMC. As huge as they were.
Even Run DMC.
Jay Short says, can y'all name a classic song with 3 Jadakiss verses? Is this a trivia?
Why are we going at Kiss? What Kiss do? Did Kiss do something? I thought about those verses on Put Your Hands Up, though, just off the top of my head.
But let's just say classic. By the way, did you like that Rakim and Ghost song that Flex played?
You mean Raekwon and Ghost? Ray and Ghost?
I said Rakim. Yeah, Raekwon and Ghost.
It's Ray and Ghost. You heard what the back and forth is like. Crazy. It's Ray and Ghost.
Their back and forth is only second to Jada and Styles.
But they're just more entertaining than those guys. So how about this?
They're better than them. Yeah.
Kiss and Styles. I love Kiss. I told you, Mike. Like Ghost is better than all of them, and Ray and Kiss is damn near a wash. And nothing against Styles. It's just Styles is the 4th man on this very, very, very high totem pole.
Yeah.
And when Ghost and Ray get together, you're hearing 2 of the best 15 MCs of all time. Rap. Every time they get together, Mike, that's what I keep trying to tell you. If you have Ghost high, you cannot have Ghost this high and have Ray somewhere back there. And every time they get together, that's the evidence.
You got MGM as their best back and forth, right?
It's best back and forth ever.
What's second? What's their second best back and forth?
Oh, shit, Mike. There's a lot. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't know.
I like them on the Hilton. I don't know if they were back and forth.
I'm cool with the Hilton. I was thinking, because sometimes their back and forth is just one picking up off the other, like 260 on Iron Man or Ray and Ghost United on Fish Scale. That's what I mean. No, they got stuff where they just pick up off of each other. It's seamless. Like on Ray and Ghost United, Like Ray is telling a story, and Ghost just picks the story off and weaves it into his story.
He did that on the
Styles
Hilton
don't be
too.
doing that, Mike. Kissing Styles do not do that when they pick up off each other. Ray was telling one story about how he had to check this dude and how he ended up at the car dealership. The dude at the car dealership's a Wu-Tang fan, and Ghost goes into the story about how he knows the other guy.
Yeah.
They got stuff, man.
Willard Winston with the super chat says, how y'all feel about Jada, A Boogie, and Fabio, I guess Fabio's New York song? Jada was the highlight of that song.
Probably, but I haven't heard it.
I ain't heard that song. I got to check that out. Yeah, I think that's about it, man. Gotta let
I like Jada By Your Side. Damian Harris put Jada By Your Side. That's classic 3 Kiss verses. That record. By Your Side's one of his best records.
By Your Side got overshadowed by Wouldn't Get Far.
Okay, so By Your Side is the type of record, production-wise, that fits him vocally perfect. For what his voice is and what his voice does, he needs that cool shit like that. Like, he can do all we know he can do all like that classic East Coast grimy shit like that. Like, that's that level for him. It's like when he does that, it sounds effortless. And he sounds his best when he sounds effortless.
How do you feel about By Your Side? Not By Your Side. We just talked about, I meant Kiss of Death.
Not as big on it as everybody else.
I like Kiss of Death. I like when he comes with the aggressive, but By Your Side's probably better. By Your Side's dope. I actually want to hear that tonight.
Well, think about that. I might ride to that when I get in the whip.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we covered pretty much everything, man. It was kind of a light Friday when it comes to music, but we had some really good discussions.
Yeah, I was about to say we got everything covered. I feel like we did.
I think we got. We got to get to our sponsor though.
Yeah, I'm about to say, we can get to our sponsor, and then I can kind of like wrap it up. I wanted to share a couple things about that message that you sent me from a gentleman that was offended with some of my takes. So I want to clarify some things.
Okay, cool.
But let's get to our sponsor first.
Relax and Relief CBD, promo code A2HH, 10% off. I'm actually going to take one of these gummies tonight because it's Friday. Be chilling, get relaxed and relieved on a Friday. Just go to www.relax/relief.com. Relief, LEAF.com for the people that are listening to us on streaming platforms. But go ahead.
No, I mean, I just want to say shout out to all the people at Relax and Relief. Thank you for the sponsorship and for the products. The stuff really works. I'm with you. The gummies, they really do help you with your focus, but they also kind of they're like balance gummies. It's like, it kind of wakes you up and gives you focus, but it kind of like tapers you off and evens you out. And here's what I always tell people is like, some of this stuff is like sedative type of stuff, as in like, it will put you down if you take too much of it. And so it's like, be mindful of that. It's like, I'm not on the CBD today, but it's just because I'm tired. And I know that if I put it in my system, it's going to put me down, and I still got some stuff that I got to do. But it is like a great balancing agent for like when you're up. I could probably use me a focus gummy right now, but they're upstairs in my room.
Well, go ahead and address what you were just talking about too, when it comes to those comments or whatever.
I've just been getting a lot of flack from some of the Muslims in the Islamic community about how they don't. First of all, they're saying the things that I'm saying are inaccurate. And so what I want to try to do is say, well, if I misspoke, I apologize, but let me try to reference it and let me try to make it clear. In Christianity, the Jesus Christ that is our Savior, well, he's our main prophet and our main purveyor. And no, your religion does not speak of him in that manner, because if it did, you all would be Christians. And so for everybody that feels like I was inaccurate for my Jesus comments, what I would submit to you is that you all may acknowledge the existence of Jesus in the written form. But saying that you acknowledge Jesus the way that I do as a Christian is like saying I acknowledge the prophet Muhammad. You get what I'm saying? And it's not the same thing. There are differences. And what I was really trying to speak to the fact is that, well, he's our main prophet in Christ and Savior. Your main prophet is Muhammad. So unless Muhammad and Jesus are the same people to you, there's no way the correlation can be the same. So no, you all do not view him as the prophet like we do, because he is our main prophet. It does not work without him. He's not a guy. Even, you notice the scriptures even that people are sending me, it's brief, Mike. It's not, the whole New Testament is about his teachings and his followers over here. The Quran's not set up like that. The Quran doesn't spend half of its book explaining who Jesus is, because it's not like that for him in that religion. If it was, they would be Christians. Muhammad is like that. You get what I'm saying? And it's very problematic to me that so many people are sitting up here indicting me. And when Mike, and it's going to happen this year too, every year during the holiday season, how many Jesus isn't real videos come out of the Muslim community, Mike? Let's just keep it real. In this social media age, when Thanksgiving and Christmas roll around, how many Jesus is not real videos come out of the Islamic community who acknowledge Jesus? You only acknowledge Jesus in the written work that you didn't write because it was thousands of years old. He's not your savior is what I'm saying. For us, he's our savior in everything. So imagine if I called your savior in everything another guy. We'd have a real problem then. But unlike my Islamic brothers, I'm not doing that about the Prophet Muhammad. I've actually said I commend him and I admire him for his ability to invite other people to hear and express different ideas for the time that he was alive. That is a fact, and that did happen. And so I just want people to kind of clarify themselves more and understand, if you don't view Christ the way that a Christian does, you don't have any right to audit me the same way I don't have a right to audit Muhammad, which is why I don't.
Okay.
Right.
Somebody in the chat said Coop did. And you know what? And on that note, we are out of here. Great show. Y'all enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your Labor Day Monday. Enjoy your Labor Day.
Yeah, it's one of these holidays.
Yeah, one of these holidays. All right. Well, we're going to holler at y'all, man. Have a great one. Talk to you soon.